bottles getting nippy up the Kraken. We stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon. We be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, February 16th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Yes, Dan Kai, I was thinking about you last night with your 3-1 spot. Nylander scores 9 seconds in. I was like, oh, Danny's going to cash this thing. I was thinking beauty, Danny. My guy in the house, Dan Kelly, says lots of tweets about Kevin Love's value this morning. He is going to be bought out by the Cleveland Cavaliers. So anyone who thinks he has value hasn't watched every minute of every Cavs game like I have. They're saying Miami will sign him, but he wants to go to New York or Brooklyn. He has a $10 million apartment in downtown Manhattan. The money liner, I was, there. I'm just a frustrated capper. I went 2-0 in NBA last night, and I talked about the struggles I've been having in NBA. Every single lean cashed, every lean. I said I was very uncomfortable with the unders in that Sixers game. That was like, this game's going to go over. I didn't bet it. I came so, it's so funny. One thing saying, oh, I like this side. It's another thing betting it. I literally stared at the Pacers for an hour and a half, 45 minutes. I was just staring. I was like, oh, I got to bet this. Miles Turner's in. Miles Turner got announced at 5:37 p.m., so maybe not quite as long. But I was sitting there going, oh, I got to bet. And I was like, why? So when Miles Turner was announced in, Pacers go to -3, it comes back point. And then, of course, it's 39-15 after the first quarter Bulls. And I'm like, oh, it was a good thing I stayed off. Lakers, so it really easily could have been a 5-0 night, but I just needed to get right a little bit. And of course, I'm pensive. Of course, I don't want to bet too much in NBA if I'm struggling with it. NHL was disappointing. I pushed the Coyotes, and then I lose. I push the Coyotes first period, and then I lose on the Coyotes team total over 3. They win the game outright. I just got too cute. The Detroit Edmonton over 6.5 was very easy. The Buffalo Anaheim under 6.5 made me want to smash my computer. It was just like there was a goalie carousel going on last night. I would never bet that with Comrie, but both goaltenders I didn't expect to be in. But Comrie is terrible. I mean, he's been so bad this year. I would never. So it sucks. We talk about the importance of getting all the information, having all the information. That's what this show's all about, us having all the information. And so for me to not know, to be wrong with both goalies in that game was extremely frustrating. Then in college basketball, you guys were right. The ROI when we're all on the same side on a spot is very poor. And the Indiana first half was a mistake. I cashed UC Santa Barbara first half. Thank God. St. Bonaventure lost first half, and then Mississippi State was such a fun game to watch. The fun goes away when you don't cash. Kentucky, Mississippi State. So this is the first time all season long. There's not been one day all year that I've been in negative units in college basketball. This is it. I'm 94-86, 52.2%, down 0.7 units. ROI minus 0.39%, average line minus 110. I've had a little bit of a setback from yesterday, so I'm not in the best shape. And then I'm also, I'm frustrated. I'm a frustrated capper right now. I need a big winning day. It's not like I need it. We talk about the importance of bankroll management. I need it for me to not be so frustrated. I feel like I just got to weight on my shoulders right now. It goes to show you the importance of handling losses and we just had such a prolonged run in 2022. So I know we're only 6 weeks into 2023, but God damn, it's been really frustrating. So I capped hard, and I've made 5 bets in NHL, and I really like the NHL card. And something I've been trying not to do. I was like, look, I'm all over the Panthers Capitals game, and we talk about in NHL how it differs from other sports because sometimes when something looks like too good to be true or whatever, it's you just trust it in NHL. And we'll see if this hurts me. I've tripled up in that Panthers Capitals game. I've not moved in NBA, and I've not moved in college basketball. One thing I did make a point of in our college basketball breakdowns, just for me setting the table for Conor Mac and for you guys, is that I will talk about the what happened recently, what in the last game for the two college basketball teams, what the spread was. But I will also talk about what happened when the two teams met, because we have picked 11 games, and I believe in 10 of those 11 games, of course, we're going to hit that 2 p.m. game with the St. Francis, Pennsylvania, St. Francis, Brooklyn. But in 10 of the 11 games, the teams have met, and they're meeting us for a second time this year. And I think that adds an element of intrigue. So that's the situation. Great to see all of you guys. Thank you so much for joining us here. And we have Pub-A-Palooza coming up here in 6 weeks. God, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's warming up a little bit. The snow's going to come back in a few days here, but you can't see green in the backyard. But the main thing is like, it's my health. I'm going to be money in the bank. I'm going to be healthy and money in the bank for San Antonio. The big reason why I need to talk about it off the top of the show is if you want to come with us to UFC San Antonio, now you can still get tickets and come to the arena and meet us for a drink or whatever. But if you want to sit with us, we're getting our group tickets. You need to let us know by Monday. And Jose is going to have the sign-up sheet here up, and you need to let us know by Monday. So that's what's up. So that's the big part here. You need to let us know by Monday for UFC San Antonio. And I'll give you guys a big shout out. And then your first guest going to be running with me in San Antonio, just like you did last year. Oh God, we were so drunk at the airport. That's about as drunk as I've been at an airport before. We're lucky we got on the flight, just reeking of booze. We were at the late great Tim Steves' house the night before. Tim Steves not with us anymore, not physically with us anymore. But that's how I'm going to cherish that. Tim Steves, as you know, he was the host of our sketch comedy show or written comedy show, For the Love of Balls. And we lost him to pancreatic cancer. So it's been about 3 or 4 months, but that's special. Gogster and I got to have that experience at Steve's place, big poker night. And we're going to be doing it again. We're going to be, but we'll be much more sober at the airport. Not maybe a little more sober. Let's just leave it at that. Shout out to everybody joining us. Dan Kelly, the money liner, Nuke Worker. Do you see Nuke Worker in his Pub Sports Radio shirt? This guy's new Pub Sports Radio shirt, wearing it proudly. I love that. That was fucking dope, man. Mikey M, ready to get to work. Viper NB, Lee Davis. Dan Kelly saying the Bucks are square as they come today, but I got on them last night -7. Chicago limping into the break and down on how the season is going. Bucks the exact opposite. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. That makes a ton of sense. Absolutely. Especially after being up 39-15 in the first quarter, after the first quarter, not being able to seal the deal. North Ender says, nice 2-0 college basketball day, Tennessee and Cal Baptist. Beautiful. I love it. Big O says, snow day, ready to hammer the book. There's Von Polo. Slatsy, ready to get to work. His third winning NHL night in a row. I love it. Ryan Mueller, Wine Time Sports, coming off the 3-0 sweep. There's my guy, Icky E. Schnizzle in the house. What a day he had in the Super Bowl. He came on and gave us all those picks as well in our pregame. And cash. I love it, Icky. I love it, my man. There's Jay Peasy, Razor Sharp Picks, Series Business. Sky Dragons, how about those Brooklyn Nets? That was nice. Nice to catch with the Brooklyn Nets so comfortably. Brooklyn Bridges, 45. Puts up 45. It's nice to see some players that want to be there. Nice to see it. Good for sports. Good for sports. Subhuman Guaucho in the house. North Ender Lucas R. Oilers over Ducks over Rangers. Oh, sorry. Oilers over Ducks over Rangers over Easy Cash. Marquette full game hurt me. Great job on the pucks. Great job. I mean, I had no idea that the goaltending situation in Vancouver. I mean, what a fucking mess. You're going to put a 6th rounder, a 2021 6th rounder in between the pipes? Well, do these guys just not care about their players? Against the hottest team in the National Hockey League, you're just going to put a 6th round pick in the 2021 draft who's not earned his way into the NHL. You're just going to throw him in there and watch him get lit the fuck up. Oh, we made it through 8 minutes. Good. You can't swear before 8 minutes. So, AOD LJ from H-Town Trill OG play today cashed. Plus 3.5 blocks. Jaron Jackson plus 150 for LJ from H-Town. That Trill OG play today is going to catch fire, man. That's going to catch fire. I know it will. Paper Chaser Imp 13 D Jenkins Real Deal Prime Dabra Cadabra Jordy Nordman I'm That Heat Stimmy OG Swiss Horton. Oh damn! Said the Oilers screwed you out of $6K last night. Ugh. That over was just very easy. I'm very curious to see what Gogster's going to do with the game in Calgary because Calgary's tough to trust. And I said it yesterday. I said, don't look now, man. But the Red Wings are in the playoff chase all of a sudden. And, I'll make an alarming amount of money if they make the playoffs. I'm not going to get caught up in them making the playoffs. I still feel like it's a long shot. And I still think they should be sellers at the deadline. But they've got some huge numbers on them. I guess not alarming amount of money, but it'll be over K. There's some big numbers on them to make the playoffs. They're over in points. Well, they're over in points. It'll just be a minus 110 situation. All right, let's get to work. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And Paper Chaser says Yotes team total over and the Lightning money line only. NHL losses should have stayed off. Yeah, it's very hard to go from beating the Stanley Cup champions in a shootout to a 4,000 seat Mullet Arena. Markel ready to get to work. Dan Kelly, that wasn't meant to be. Says that I tried to make that clear that during that show that we're allowed to mention any lines here. Sorry, I tried to make that clear that when we were, I wasn't forcing people to say where they got their lines, but I tried to make it clear that here at Pub we can talk about anything we want. There's no rules. I tried to make that clear, Dan. I hope I didn't mess that up too badly. North Ender says interested to hear people's thoughts on Purdue. No way they lose 2 in a row, right? Ron Crawford with the NHL spreadsheet play of the day is on the Boston Bruins, and we align. I've moved on the Boston Bruins, so let me just put that up and get that ready to go here. We align. I'm on the Bruins -1 tonight, even though I don't really believe in them. No, I shouldn't say I don't believe them. I don't believe they're going to have as big of a second half as they have first half. And that's a very easy thing to say. So let me make that clear. Billy Freddie says Purdue going to lose again. Let's bring on your first guest. We'll be rolling into San Antonio together, and he has his eye on the par 3 tournament in San Antonio. He wants to be the first name on that trophy. That's what he wants. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him, and he's going to be drunk. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Gogster. Gogster, how are you, my friend?
What's going on, Jeremy? If I'm not drunk, I'm not golfing, buddy. So more beers, the better when it comes to the golf game. But yeah, can't wait for San Antonio, guys. What are we about a month and a week away? Hockey's been got my ass kicked actually Tuesday. So I was saying to Pete there, Jim, anytime I'm doing really well, it seems to be it's kind of when you slip up. But had a bad day Tuesday, guys. Really, I actually feel pretty good about this card, Jim. So yeah, buddy, let's get after it, guys in the chat. Girls, how we doing?
Let's get after it. And DC Capper says that High Roller sends another 5K wager for the show. Yeah, I was following what he did yesterday. He had a very nice that High Roller that you speak of, $5,000 units.
Yeah,
which is everybody's goal. DC, I kept an eye on what he did. Let's get that ready to go here. When you say if you're not drunk, you're not golfing. I'm the same way with ping pong. I need to be intoxicated. When I'm playing, the beer is fine, but I prefer something harder.
We actually got a ping pong table at my work spot there now, and we always play at break. So sober Gogster ping pong is good. I don't know about drunk Gogster playing ping pong.
Well, I'll $50 a game, Gogster, anytime you want.
All right, we'll do this $50 a game there, and we'll play $100 a hole. How's that sound?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Just ping pong. I only gamble with my own sporting action in ping pong. We could. I don't think my pool game is nearly as strong as it was. All right, same way with driving. All right, and razor sharp picks. The horse bet frozen solid to the bank. That was his horse play of the day yesterday. He put it in the chat. We talked about it. Dabby Cab bet it immediately, and of course, razor sharp picks bet cashed. All right, let's get to work. We have a lot of work to do. Let me set up the line history that we will need to discuss here, and let's get to work, Gogster. And I've made 5 bets. Have you tweeted any action out today?
Not yet, but I got 9 plays that I've already bet. So, all right, and the lines, I got lines updated, so we're good to go.
Let's fire away, my friend. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. Pub Sports Radio going up on a Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. We get started. Montreal Canadiens 23-27-4, 9-13-3 on the road to the Carolina Hurricanes, 35-10-8, 17-6-2 at home. We're at PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. Take a look at the line history here for this one. Just ludicrous again. Carolina opening up at minus 412. Now they're minus 451. I mean, that's just absolutely ludicrous. I mean, this is beyond comprehension. Again, I have not betted. Yesterday, I had moved on some of these dogs, but I at that point, at that price, how on earth do you not want something with the Canadiens here? Now, we'll talk about why the Hurricanes are at that number, but they've shown us no reason to be at that number over their past 2 games. Sure, you take the bulk of their season, and sure. But over the last little while, this is the most ludicrous number I could possibly imagine. Let's move over to the total here, opening up at 6.5, minus 118 to the under, now minus 119 to the under. It's sort of a 6, really, but it's been bouncing back and forth from 6 to 6.5, 6 to 6.5. Probably too high if you trust the goaltending. I really want to make a big point on the goaltending here because I screwed it up yesterday. It cost me. It cost me an easy win in the Rangers Canucks game, and then it cost me a loss in the under 6.5 in Buffalo Anaheim. So we can't let that happen. We just can't let that happen. Razor sharp picks here. Also letting you guys know that our first foray into a live NHL bet stream. I can't be there, unfortunately. And I've got news about live bet streams that I'll be involved in, but right now I just got to deal with this stuff that I'm dealing with. So I can't be there, sadly. I'm going to cap it heavy. Maybe I can jump in the chat, but I can't be on screen. But they're doing the Rangers-Oilers game on Friday night. Rangers at Oilers.
I'll be there for that one. Same thing, Jim. I'm a little busy. I'll be in the chat for tonight. Good for next Thursday, I told Razor, but sign me up for tomorrow. Can't wait.
I love it. So Rangers Oilers Friday night. That's very exciting.
That's awesome.
It's such a fun hockey game. So of course there's going to be all sports that they're going to be capping, and then there's going to be horses as well. But Rangers Oilers. Let me just pop this. Make sure I got the DC cappers. Look for. I thought I had that already. Yes, I have it. Okay, beautiful. And Wi-Fi is out, Slatsy says. Wi-Fi is out. Says takes away so much toughness out of the lineup. Ranta confirmed Allen probable here. There's Nut Flush Allen in the house. Allen coming off of a shutout here. So let's get back here, and I apologize for.
Montreal's looked really good, Jim. Like it's going to be their first road game since they've come off the break, but in 3 games they've looked really good. Yeah,
they were 3 straight wins. I mean, I don't know how much we should talk about a home win over Chicago. It was 1-0 going into the third period, but Allen is looking better. This power play 18.2%. The penalty killing is still struggling. And I went back to 10 games for the stats. I had dropped it to 5. I went back to 10. So we get a touch of what they were doing before the break and All-Star break and what they're doing after. Carolina's power play 8-1-1, hitting at 29.6%. Penalty killing 88.9%. They bounced back from having their 7-game winning streak snapped by the Rangers on Saturday. That was a pretty ugly loss, 6-2. Made me very excited about my Rangers futures by beating Washington 3-2 on Tuesday night. And this Washington hockey team is bad. Don't get it twisted. They're a bad hockey team. You have Ovechkin, who's been carrying the club. I know his plus minus hasn't been great, but he's been very good this year, dealing with the death of his father, and he's not around. And then you have Carlson, who's been out for an extended period of time. And we'll talk about Washington there, but this is nothing to hang your hat on. So how do we not move on the Montreal Canadiens in some form or fashion? Take it away, Gogster. Floor is yours. Habs, Canes.
Yeah, it's interesting here. I think there's going to be regression from Montreal here, Jim, from the home to road. Much better home team. It seems like Montreal, at least defensively, and no Wi-Fi. Like I think it was Slatsy was saying in the chat, that does hurt, especially toughness. Edmondson's day-to-day, so they don't know if he's going to be a trade piece, what they're going to do with him. But yeah, you got Caulfield, Gallagher, Slavkovsky, Gooley, Evans, Byram, and Monahan. But yet they're still producing, so this is a good sign for Montreal, their future of Montreal, to see what they're doing, even without those key players. But going into Carolina, Jim, going to be tough. They have Ranta. Both of these goalies, Ranta and Anderson, they're very streaky. The line, I agree, is a little too high right now for Carolina. With that being said, though, I still want to take Carolina in some way. They have a 19% power play and a 71% penalty kill, Jim, on the road overall. And just since the break in those 3 games, they have a 37% power play and an 83% penalty kill. So they've been really hot of late versus weaker opponents too. So it's tough to go against the grain because, it's been hitting red, guys. And I kind of want to go to black and almost take like a Montreal team total under here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick to what my original play was going to be here. You look before the break, they lost 4 in a row. But then they beat Edmonton. Anyway, guys, what I'm going to say is I'm going to stick with Carolina in regulation, Jim. It's minus 240. I found it's going to be in a parlay piece. Sorry, I'm not putting that straight up. That's just blasphemy. But I'm going to put it in a parlay piece, Jim. I got a 3-team banger for you guys. So that's going to be one of the first halves of it, the first third. It's going to be Carolina regulation. I just think there's going to be there's going to be a letdown here, I believe, Jimmy, from Montreal. And defensively, Carolina is one of the tougher teams defensively. Just their goaltending's a little suspect. But I expect Carolina, even their team total over was something I wanted to play, guys, over 3.5, but line was a little too high. So I just think Carolina is just overall, they're going to score more than Montreal here. I think it's going to be tough for Montreal.
I couldn't make this bet yesterday with either. Now, it would have cashed with the Coyotes, but that was at would have been minus 140. I couldn't make this bet with the Blackhawks. It would have been minus 105. And I can make it here, I think. So, and I think I'm going to. I plan. So the idea is you have a big dog, and you're not sure if a lot of goals are going to be scored. I'm not here. Hurricanes have given us no sign in the last 2 games that they're, humming offensively. You have a goaltender in Jake Allen coming off of a shutout. You have Ranta. I gave you guys Frederick Anderson's information, but it looks like Ranta being who's susceptible. And so why can't we get 20 minutes to keep the Hurricanes off the score sheet here? So I think that the reason why you couldn't do it in the Blackhawks game was because we knew there was going to be goals scored in that game. You can't trust Mrazek or the Blackhawks. And the reason why we couldn't do it in the Coyotes game was because the minus 140 was just too expensive. Here, I can get the Habs plus a half in the first period at minus 115. And as much as I would like to take them at plus 220, I think I can. I think that Montreal, the Habs first period plus a half at minus 115 is the best spot for me. Now, Lee Davis talking about the opportunity to take the Habs team total. And let's just see what that team total is against Ranta, who we think is vulnerable. The over 2 minus 190 and plus 150, minus 190 and plus 155, excuse me. Put in the minus 1 calculators, minus 114. How do we not take the Montreal Canadiens team total over 2? Gogster.
Yeah. The only thing I'm worried about, Jim, is I do think Carolina can come out scoring here. Just Montreal, they're playing Chicago. That was, you can't get an easier game. This is just one angle, but I just think Carolina is going to be just them on the road and Carolina. I think it's going to be tough. I see like a 4-2 final here. maybe even a 5. I expect Carolina to score. I know Allen looked good here in his games at home, but overall on the road, he's 4-6-1, 0.908 save percentage, 3.27 goals against. I don't know. I think Montreal. I think Montreal might get beat here pretty good, but I could be wrong.
Well,
I am a Toronto fan too, so
the Hurricanes aren't playing very well. The first period, Habs plus a half, minus 112 at FanDuel, minus 115 for me. The team total over 2 is at minus 114, and Slatsy's saying the under 6-1-1 last 8 here. I like the under as well. I certainly don't want to triple up here. But I like those spots. I didn't realize it. I needed to talk it out, but I like these spots a lot here.
Okay.
And Nutflush says, scroll through your text and look at the one that says, I'm going to fade Gibson every single game for the entire season using team totals. Yes, but that wasn't Gibson in net last night.
Who was in net? Was that Dostal?
Yeah.
No way. Good old Dostal came up. Oh, God. Yeah, if you see him in net, then definitely.
It was absolute trash. Like the idea that Dostal could be going up against Comrie. I was like, what?
They're desperate, just like Vancouver calling up Silvos, Artis Silvos. God, that guy played, for Utica and then Abbotsford. Desperate times in Hockeyville.
Cobra Sports says maybe Montreal plus 2.5. The minus 130 is a problem there, Cobra Sports. And there, let me just give you an idea here, Cobra Sports. The Canes could win 5-2, and I could push my team total over 2, and I can cash my first period plus a half kind of thing. So I think the minus 130 is what makes me uncomfortable. North Ender says, I'm not sure Habs score 2. Look, I don't trust Ranta.
I think Carolina, sorry, John. I think Carolina wake up just from those 2 games. Like, they haven't looked that good, but you got a chance. I know Montreal, they've looked at their 3 games, but historically on the road, this isn't the greatest hockey team, especially defensively. I just think Carolina have a chance to wake up here. If they don't, I'd be surprised, but I expect them to.
Yeah, you and Dennis are much higher on this team than I am. And I respect this is a good hockey team, and they're going to be buyers at the break. But there's some talk about what Druin did last game and 3 assists. This is a kid who's streaky and not trustworthy and doesn't have a ton of character. It'll be interesting to see if he can heat up here for the Habs. And Mike M says teams that hosted the Blackhawks have gone 15-2-2 to the over the following game, 7-1 to the over if it's a road game. That's a great stat, Mike. Billy Friedrich says Cam Ward will be in the building. Ranta going to pitch a shutout, and he's laughing. But Cam Ward.
Mike M, that's exactly what I'd like to do. Like, when teams are playing kind of a weaker opposition, especially offensively, then you go up against like just a beast. It's tough. Like, the over, that kind of makes a lot of sense. So like I see it in Belleville a lot. Like, if a weaker team will come in and Belleville, they'll beat them 4-1, and then they got, say, like Toronto coming the next night, they usually allow 4 or 5. So
well, let's keep rolling. Gogster's using the Hurricanes in regulation. I'm going to be all over this game. These are ridiculous.
The line is awfully high for Carolina for how good Montreal's been playing. I gotta say that, yeah.
And Billy Friedrich says, and embarrassingly enough, it appeared there were more Rangers fans than Canes fans in the building. Lee Davis says, plus monies. The problem, Lee, is that I want the 2. If I had gone for plus monies in the Blackhawks game, I would have lost the bet. So I want the 2. And the only plus monies that you could do is the Habs first period money line. And that's a totally legit spot there. Yeah. But for me, if I think there's going to be a lower scoring game, I find enormous value on that plus a half at minus 115. So, if you want, you can get a plus monies on the under 6 right now. I would prefer just to have 2 bets on this game. I'm not going to have 3 bets on this. There's no way I can handle tonight if I've got 3 bets on the Montreal Canes game and 3 on the Caps game. So let's just move on past it here and keep rolling. But Billy Friedrich, more Rangers fans than Canes fans in the building. Wild. Real Deal Prime says 6-1 Canes final. We'll see. Turnsy says Nick Suzuki shot prop Montreal team total over 1.5. There's your plus monies. Yeah, you could in-game parlay. That's a great idea, Turnsy. Great idea. All right, let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. We got to speed this up a little bit. Winnipeg Jets. We only have 3 games in NBA, so we're not too forced. But Winnipeg Jets 34-19-1, 14-11-1 on the road at Columbus Blue Jackets, 16-34-4, 11-17-2 at home. Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio is next up for us. Let's take a look at the situation here, and we have Columbus opening up at plus 175. They're now plus 182. A slight move towards the Jets.
Hold on, Jim. Can I a little
Yeah.
timeout? I
Yeah.
need a little time here. I didn't give up my picks, and I did. Sorry, Carolina regulation.
Part of your parlay.
Yeah.
We're good. Yeah, we got you, buddy. This total opening up at 6. They moved. It's still a 6 juice to the over, but there is a 6.5 at minus 117. I'd be curious just to see what Bet365 is doing with that one. They've got it at 6 plus 100 to the under. If I could get a 6.5 at minus 117, like they're offering at Pinnacle, I have interest in the under here. Connor Hellebuck. I've gotten Elvis Merzlikins between the pipes for the Jackets. I'm not sure if that will be the case.
Korpisalo confirmed.
Korpisalo confirmed. Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't you touch, because I've got Merzlikins stats here. So why don't you touch on Korpisalo? Winnipeg 5-5-0, 15% power play, 81.5% penalty killing over the last 10 games. Columbus 3-5-2, 23.1% power play, 76.2% penalty killing. Hellebuck looking like the Vezina winner from 2019 this year. 25-15-1, 2.41 goals against average, 924 save percentage, 3 shutouts, and he should be nominated for the Vezina again. The Jets come in off their third straight win, 3-2 at home in the shootout over the Kraken on Tuesday night. The Jackets come in off their 5th loss in 6 games, 3-2 at home to the Devils on Tuesday night. The Jackets are also holding Vladislav Gavrikov out of the lineup as they await a trade partner. Take it away for us here, Gogster. Jets, Jackets.
Yeah, so about the goaltending here, Korpisalo 0-1 so far, but he had a .927 save percentage, 3 goals against. He was peppered in his one game. I believe it was against Toronto. In the loss. Overall, those 6 and 7 at home, guys. He's got a .899 save percentage, 3.57 goals against. One thing about Hellebuck, though, coming off the break, Jim, he was ill. Didn't play against the last game. Red Lake Riddick played, and he actually got the win against Seattle, it was. So Hellebuck starting, I want to see confirmation on that because, if he's coming off an illness, that's always it's a little dicey there. So first road game for Winnipeg. They're fairly healthy. Nate Schmidt was held out of practice there the other night, but he should be good to go. Columbus has had the same kind of list of defensemen out, Jake Bean, Werenski. So this game, guys, I don't have much on it, to be honest, just because of Hellebuck. I don't know if he's going to be starting and, how he's going to look. I kind of lean towards Columbus, maybe a first period Columbus, little bounce back spot after their last game out here. What'd they do? They, had a lot of wins there from Winnipeg. Yeah, 3-2 loss. I have 3-2 loss here against New Jersey, Jim. I lean towards Columbus first period, but nothing I want to pull the trigger on. I'm actually pretty high on this Winnipeg team, Jim, second half of the season. They've looked really good. I haven't played the strongest of opponents, though, since the break. But, I lean towards Columbus first period here. Don't know who's going to be net for the Jets. That's what's kind of keeping me off this game.
That's interesting. That's very important information on Hellebuck. So Hellebuck's sick. I had question marks around even the under 6, but now I'm just going to stay off of it. I've got a lot of action here on NHL tonight. So let's roll past. Yes.
That's what you're saying. Step off.
Okay. Let's move on to the next ball on the board. This is triple up for me. I tried to not triple up, but I just felt like I need to put my foot on the throat of an opposition that's vulnerable. And
you're going with this.
I just there are times when you're like, look, these guys will step up here for their missing leader. And I was like, these guys? I don't know. And I sat with this for a while. The Capitals are a fade. They're not a very good hockey team, and I'll get into it a little more here in a second. Florida Panthers, 27-24-6, 12-16-3 on the road at the Capitals, 28-22-6, 14-10-3 at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Bobrovsky, Kemper, I have listed. Let me know if that's going to work here. Yeah. Bobrovsky, 15-14-2, 3.05 goals against average, 905 save percentage, 1 shutout. Darcy Kemper, 16-15-4, 2.59 goals against average, 915 save percentage, 5 shutouts for Darcy. He's been good. Better than I thought he would be. Florida 5-4-1, 13.8% power play over the last 10 games. Weak power play. And now we're not sure if Sam Bennett's going to be in the lineup. Not that really hurts the power play that much, but the power play is not succeeding. The Florida 72.4% penalty killing. Washington's 4-6-0. That 13.3% power play, that's still got Ovechkin's fingerprints on it.
Mm-hmm.
You take Ovechkin's fingerprints on it, and I'm going to touch on this power play in a little bit here. Well, I can touch on it now. Marcus Johansson is on this power play. And I mean on the first unit, playing 80 to 90% of the power play time that's available for Washington Capitals. So Marcus Johansson hasn't scored more than 30 points in the season in the last 6 years. He has 13 goals this year. That's the most he's had since 2016. So the coaching staff, or they have a vividness bias of what Marcus Johansson did when he played for the Capitals between 2010 and 2016. Mm-hmm. He's not good anymore. I mean, I shouldn't say he's not good, because he's a guy that you'd want on your third line. You know, he's a guy that you'd want, but he's not a guy you'd want on your power play. That's what's happened to this hockey team now. It's the Ovechkin Award Tour with Muhammad, my man. They're not going to be good this year. They're not going to be good next year. And management knows that. And management is not going to add and spend a bunch of money when they know they're going to have sellouts every single night as Ovechkin chases Gretzky's record of 892 goals. I believe he's got like 800, I don't know, in the teens right now.
Something like that, yeah.
So this Washington is going to be bad this year, and they're going to be bad next year. Get your fade started here, because management's not going to do anything. We've seen this happen in pro sports for years and years and years in all sports. Owners know they got a cash cow, and they're going to do nothing to make the team excellent. They're not going to. So, okay, here. So let's just go into the line history here for this spot. We have a big move towards Washington. They opened up at plus 115. They're now at plus 103. This move happened around 8 a.m, and I didn't get it. Pinnacle moved it down to a pick of minus 105 each side. And I was like, okay, so I hadn't bet it yet. And I was like, okay, are the other books going to follow suit? None of the other books were. None moved. Wow. Then it was minus 107 about 10 minutes later. No books are moving. I'm like, I'm going to take the minus 120. I don't want minus 120, so I turned it into a minus 1 line with the Panthers. And since then, it's back to minus 114, minus 115 at Pinnacle. I don't understand the move. Maybe people think that the Capitals are going to play with all this heart. And you know who has heart? Tom Wilson has heart. Carl Hagelin has a ton of heart. I feel bad for I think Backstrom has heart as a player, but watching him out there, I mean, he's just not playing well. Oshie's broken. These guys are just not good.
John Carlson's
been out, and now they have their power play. It just looks bad. So their first game without Ovechkin, who again is in Russia to be there for the death of his father, and you know, our love and thoughts go to the Ovechkin family, because Ovechkin's meant so much to our sport. But they come off their second straight loss, 3-2 at home versus Carolina. They have to play defensive hockey. We talked about when the Avalanche lost McKinnon. And I was like, look, they're going to go under every game. It's going to be under. And that's what they did. That's exactly what they did. It was just unders nonstop, because they have no other way to play. And the Capitals have no other way to play. So I'm on the Capitals team total under 3. I'm on the Panthers minus 1. And I'm also on the under 6.5 in this game. This total has gone from, I don't think we moved over there. This total has gone from. So this under 6.5 was at plus 103.
Yeah.
It's now at minus 115 at Pinnacle. It's because it should be hammered. It's not right. Earl Sports says it's also a potential look ahead to the Stadium Series game versus Carolina on Saturday. Good call, Earl, because even that is hurt. So I've moved on it in 3 different ways. Mike M says the unders hit 16-25 at home for the Caps and 6 of the last 7. The under for the Caps is going to be cash cow for us. So take it away for us, Mr. Gogster. Sorry I waxed poetic so long. Let me just give you guys the numbers that I got here with my action.
Well said.
The team total under 3 at minus 112. The under 6.5 at minus 115. And the Panthers minus 1 at plus 139. Take it away.
Yeah. Well, I'm completely with you. I was hoping you said you had 3 plays that they were somewhat correlated. And I didn't take Florida yet, which, you know, I guess I'm just a stupid homer to to Washington. But you're completely right with everything you said, Jim, and especially with Carlson. They have Eric Gustafson, I think it is. Yeah, he's on their first line defense. Like without Carlson, without even without Ovechkin, Wilson, Dowd, they're missing at least 3 of their top players. And Jimmy, you broke it down just perfectly in my opinion. This team's it's an older team too. Florida, on the other hand, look at Bobrovsky, guys. Bobrovsky's been actually playing really well. He's 3-1 since the break, Jim, with a .951 save percentage and a 1.73 goals against. That's the best numbers I've seen from Bobrovsky in a long, long time. So everything makes sense from what you said, Jimmy. The under 3 team total on Washington. I didn't play that, but you know what? Well, I'm gonna tail that with you. What line did you get?
For which one?
The team total under on Washington.
I got a nice number. Let's see what it is right now because I had to use the -1 calculator to get it.
Okay.
Here. And also, I was only talking about Washington and then the Sam Bennett injury. But Florida coming off that 6-2 loss at the Blues on Tuesday, they looked atrocious. So it's not like they're going to – their whole season's on the line, Yeah. So I got – with that one, and I'd love to see where it is right now. I got the under 2.5 at +145 and the under 3.5 at -175. I'm going to go over there right now. I'm sure we could use the Pinnacle lines and get you much better. I always give out what I bet, which, hurts me with my unit record, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you though. Team total under 3 Washington, guys. I also took the first period under 1.5 at +140. That's just insane, I think, for that. +140 first period under. And then I'm taking team total Washington under 3 with Jim. And I'm going to triple up here too. Do I want to do no goal first 9 or full game? I'm going to take no goal first 9. It's just what I do. So I'm going to do triple up there, Jim. No goal first 9 minutes is +110.
Okay, wait just a second. No goal first 9 is +110. Okay, keep going.
And then +140 on the first period under. So that number is just too kind.
Gogster. And then under 1.5 first period under 1.5 at +140. And then you want to come in on this team total. Let's get it from a book that's going to give you a better price just for our record keeping, because you shouldn't face the hurdle that I have with that. You should get a better price. So let's just move over quickly. I'm going to line shop. Do you want to add to anything?
Mac M's just saying about Kuznetsov's shots. That's an interesting thing to just bring up his shots here. He's had 6 shots in 3 games. TJ Oshie, he's got 8. So him, and even Nicholas Obi-Cabell. There's a sneaky one right there. Nicholas Obi-Cabell, just a grinder of a hockey player. 8 shots in 3 games. I bet you his total is probably pretty low. So maybe an Obi-Cabell there.
I have to give you they're not the Pinnacle has the Caps team total at 3.5 and -155 to the under.
Yeah.
They don't want you betting it. So I'll have to give you what I got here. So I got the team total under 3 for the Capitals at -112. And that's what you will be getting as well. All right. Let's keep rolling. North End is almost 20-cent move towards the Caps here. I don't care where the money is, North Ender. I'm not going to look. But I think it's very important to know that the Pinnacles come back. So, they
have.
They've come back. So that's what I wanted to see, and I've seen it, and I'm not even going to look, but at Pinnacle, there's still being a 15-cent move towards the Cap, or a 12-cent move, +115 to +103. But when it moved to -105, at that point, I was like, I would like to see, I don't care, but I would like to see him move back. And if you were, I can understand Cappers thinking that Ryan Mueller says, would you take the Caps team total under 2.5? I'd prefer I don't see why, Ryan, anyone wouldn't just use the -1 calculator here and have a push. It depends, Ryan. If you're going to bet, it depends what your unit size is. If your unit size is smaller and you're going for a score, then by all means do it. But for me, I want that push in. I want that push. It's an important
insurance. Yeah.
Slatsy says Panthers first period minus half at plus 178. Slatsy, I do think that Washington will play with as much heart as they possibly can.
Yeah.
So
that's why I took no goal first 9 too.
Okay, so let's move on. And sorry, we got to speed this up, and it's all my fault. We have Ron Crawford joining us. So this is our next spot: Boston Bruins at Nashville Predators. And then here, what I'm doing is sort of based on, and this makes me nervous. It's hoping. I shouldn't say hoping, but it's based on the injury to Forsberg. They called up their top prospect from the A with Forsberg hurt, but with Forsberg out, this is just, to me, a bad hockey team, Nashville. And as much as I don't want to back the Bruins much in the second half of the season, when I think they're going to kind of coast home and make sure that they're healthy, I took the Bruins -1 here. We have Ron Crawford, who's also on the spreadsheet play today on the Boston Bruins. Shout out to our Ron Crawford. Let's go over to the line history of this one, the Bruins Predators. We have the Bruins opening up at -181. They're now -176. They've been bouncing around between -176 and -185 this morning at Pinnacle. Totals wise, this is opening up at 5.5, -116 to the over. It's actually, there's been a move towards the under at 5.5, which I can sort of understand. Boston 6-3-1. Look at this power play from Boston. 8.6% power play over the past 10 games.
Yeah.
Something that we need to keep an eye on. They're going to be great for unders. I'm not moving on an under here, but I can understand why somebody would. Penalty killing 84.4%. Nashville 6-4-0, 15.4% power play, 85.7% penalty killing. You have Ullmark and Saros, two of the best goaltenders in the league. Ullmark on his way to his first Vezina. But Ullmark better, play 50 games. I don't think he will. If he wins the Vezina playing 45 games, it'll be the lowest amount of games a goaltender's ever played winning a Vezina trophy. But his numbers are outstanding. 1.90 goals against average, 937 save percentage. Saros has been very good this year as well. 2.73 goals against average, 919 save percentage. Bruins bounced back from their 2-1 loss to the Capitals by beating the Stars 3-2 in overtime. Predators come off their second loss in 3 games, 4-2 at home to the Coyotes on Monday. They've been outscored 9-3 in their last 2 home games. Forsberg not there to help. And I think this team is vulnerable.
That really hurts.
It really hurts. Yeah. So this wasn't a plan here, but the more I looked at the Predators offense and looked at the Predators lineup, I was like, I'll take Boston -1. Earl Sports says Nashville's a live dog, in my opinion. Says he took the Bruins team total under 3.5 and the under 5.5 full game. Says he sees this as a 2-2 OT type game. Yeah, I get it. The Predators should bounce back from that horrible debacle on Monday. They have to play with more heart. They know they're missing their number one center and best player. So I can understand Earl thinking that they're a live dog. I did not want the Bruins, and I don't want to bet them much moving forward. But what is Duchesne going to show heart? Take it away here, Mr. Gogster. Bruins, Predators.
Yeah, the special teams for Nashville too, Jimmy. They're not the greatest by any means. And then you're going to take out Forsberg, 16% power play guys at home overall, which is pretty poor. 14% at home since the break, and then 12% in their last 3 games, and then 66% penalty kill too, Jimmy. They've just been playing subpar. Lost to, as you guys said, to Arizona, very weak team. Bounce back opportunity is in play, but the thing is, you're playing Boston, man. Like the Bruins are just a different beast. I know it's second half of the season, but a good win against Dallas. I was expected them to win that one. That game against Washington, Kemper stole that one. I remember watching it. This game here, 0% power play. Their penalty kill, though, for Boston, 87% since the break, 85% penalty kill on the road. That's in the top bracket right there. I'm going to take this. The Nashville team total under 2.5. It's at -112. I like that number. Nashville team total under 2.5. And I'm also taking regulation on Boston -110, Jim. It could be close early. Like I could see, I could even see maybe Nashville up 1-0, but without your heart and your soul, which is Forsberg, and just seeing what Boston's done, Jim, throughout the season, I'm going to trust them here. I see no reason really not to. Only way I think they lose this game is if Saros plays an absolute gem, like a 39 of 40 or, like a 36 of 38. But I expect Boston to it's going to be too tough, I think, for Nashville to score on Boston here.
Yeah, I like your looks, and I can understand Earl's idea too. That Bruins team total under 3.5 for me is -150. But I a 4-1 final for the Bruins. I'd find that surprising. So I can understand going with unders here, but I'm comfortable with keeping it clean for me with just the Bruins -1. Gogster's on the Preds under 2.5 -112. The Bruins in regulation -110 on that.
-110 on the regulation Boston.
And Ron Crawford has a spreadsheet play today on Boston in regulation as well. All right, let's move on to 9 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Red Wings 24-28, 10-9-5 on the road at the Calgary Flames, 25-18-11, 14-9-2 at home. Earl bringing up a good point, saying who's going to take the Caps playoff spot? Islanders, Panthers, Red Wings, or Sabres? I don't need to pick. Who, but I think more than one team will pass them. And having all four of them as options is pretty comfortable. I have the Capitals not to make the playoffs from the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
I did get a huge price. I didn't. I only got I have to double check, but I believe it's like +130. And then I have the under 93.5 point total. I'm going to cash them both. Brian Watson says Oilers so overrated. Wow, they're a tricky team to.
It's goaltending, guys. It's goaltending.
I couldn't believe after all I said about Soupy Dumps that he'd play so badly last night. But
he's so inconsistent.
Well, he hadn't allowed over 3 goals in 8 straight games. But I hear you, Brian. I don't think they're that overrated. If you lost money on them last night, maybe you can be angry. But that was a tough spot for them. They're coming off the road trip. I thought that they'd be angry after the loss in Montreal. But anytime you come back home from a road trip, and the Red Wings are running hot and. They're a tough team to figure out, and wait till the trade deadline's over because they're going to add a top 6 forward or a top 2 defenseman. But let's move on to the Red Wings here. 24-28, 10-9-5 on the road. Calgary Flames 25-18-11, 14-9-2 homeward. Scotiabank, Saddledome, Calgary, Alberta. Detroit 6-3-1, 22.6% power play over the past 10, 91.7% penalty killing. I like watching them step up here. So Calgary 4-4-2, 16.7% power play, 83.8% penalty killing. Let's move over to the line history here for Wings Flames. We have the Flames opening up at -253. They're now -266, a 13-cent move towards them. I mean, that line's ridiculous. But, the Red Wings are on the second half back-to-back, and they've been running so nice on this road. I can see why people deem them vulnerable here, but this total opened up as a pick 'em. There's been a 6-cent move towards the over, and Husso and Markstrom. But who was in for Detroit last night? Why?
It was Husso, I believe. So I have Hellberg.
Yeah, Hellberg. Okay. Hellberg, Markstrom. Markstrom 14, 13, and 7, 2.93 goals against average, 891, 7%. Wings are on the second half of the back, as I said, 5-4 shootout win last night over the Oilers. The Flames continue to underwhelm. They finished up their 4-game post-All-Star break road trip with a 4-3 overtime loss at Ottawa on Monday. They were up 3-1 with 5 minutes left in the game. They finished the road trip 1-1-2, and I don't want to be involved in this hockey game. I find it pretty difficult. Take it away for us here, Gogster.
Yeah, Detroit's, they've been looking actually really good since the break. 4-1, won their last 4 games. They've scored 5 or more goals their last 3 against Vancouver twice in Edmonton. But, against Vancouver twice defensively, that's not the toughest of opponents, even goaltending. And then Soupy in that game against Detroit, he let in some weak goals there, just didn't have a strong game. So back-to-back, Markstrom's in a bounce-back spot, in my opinion, here too. I believe, what do I have here from Markstrom here? He's 1-0-2, so he's had 2 overtime losses, 0.864 save percentage, though, 3.61 goals against. Overall, 0.892 at home, 2.88 goals against. I do think Calgary do win this one. They really, if they can't win this one, like you got Magnus Hellberg, them on a back-to-back. This is 3rd game of their road trip. They could have Seattle coming up, then Washington, so looking at Calgary, they have 3 games at home here. This should be a Calgary spot. The line is pretty high. The books really kind of juiced that pretty high. So with that being said, I haven't been too hot on these first period both teams to score, but you know what? I'm going to stay off this one. That's what I have written down here. And I did bet it small on both of them, Jim, but I expect Calgary to have a bounce back here. I don't know, guys. What I have written down is first period, both teams to score plus 150, and then even full game, both teams to score 3 goals plus 155. I'm just a little bit worried about Detroit and what they're going to bring to the table here. I think Calgary is going to be able to score though here. Just don't know about Detroit, so I'm going to stay off this one.
Well, let's move on to 9 p.m. Eastern. Next up for us, getting into NBA after, and Conor Mac picks joining us for NCAA basketball. We have 11 games picked out for NCAA basketball. New Jersey Devils 35-13-5, 23-3 on the road. St. Louis Blues 25-25-3, 12-12-2 at home. Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. Maybe it's just the dumbest thing you could possibly do to fade the Devils on the road. And maybe I'm just an idiot, but I'm doing it here. I'm taking the Blues at plus 130. It was a second straight win for the Blues, 6-2 at home over the Panthers on Tuesday. Isaiah Scurry says Devils spot. I do think playing without Jack Hughes is going to hurt this team at some point. And he's been so good this season, and I'm waiting to make money off when it does happen. And I don't really trust the Jersey road record. So Lee Davis also on Jersey. So Billy Friedrich says this is a spot where the Blues show up and show out. I love the risk reward here for the Blues. I think they're better than their record indicates. And some of their young forwards are playing much better now. I've been on Kairou's case all season long. I've been on Thomas's case a little bit. They get the big contracts. I expect them. I suspect they have a strong penalty kill. I know that the Devils' power play is not the same without Hughes. The Devils coming off their 4th win in 5 games, 3-2 at Columbus on Tuesday night. They have no Jack Hughes. They don't have their defenseman Brendan Smith either. I know that the Blues don't have Torrey Krug and don't have Brandon Saad either, but But I just think there's too much opportunity for the Blues to win their 3rd straight game. They're at home. They're coming off a nice offensive performance. I'm not saying that they're going to save the season. I just thought there was just too much value here. And maybe this is stupid, very stupid, fading the Devils on the road. But I'm doing it. Let me just give a line history before here. I got the plus 130 that seems to be available market wide right now. The Blues opened up at plus 127. They got down to plus 119 at 8:15 this morning. They were at plus 141 at 5:50 in the morning. I got them at plus 130. I'm very comfortable with that line. The total opened up at 6.5, juiced to the under. There's been almost no movement on that total. Take it away for us here, Mr. Gogster. The floor is yours.
So, I hear what you're saying about St. Louis. The one thing I did a deep dive on was Vanacek, Jimmy, and just how good Vanacek is on the road. He's a very strong road goalie. He's 13-1-2 this year, so he's only lost once in regulation. And then even going back to the last year, 10-4-2. And then the year before that, when he was with Washington, he was 10-6-1. So Vanacek's low key. He gets a lot of wins for his team wherever he's going to be. 25% power play since the break for New Jersey, 14% for St. Louis, and then 66% penalty kill I have here for St. Louis since the break, and 77% on the road overall. Not on the road, at home. I'm going to take the Devils here, Jim. I'm not too high on St. Louis. I think they're sellers too with O'Reilly and already got rid of Tarasenko. So I'm going to be on the Devils there with some of the people in the chat. I have it in the money line parlay. If you guys earlier on in the show here, we had Carolina regulation. It's going to be tied in with the Devils money line, and I got one more for you coming up here shortly. So I'm going to take the Devils, Jimmy. Just money line to get the W here. I don't think it should be too tough for them. Give me the Devils.
You got the Devils. Big shout out to Lucas Ryan gifting a Pub Sports membership. RVD 420 received it. I love that. Thank you.
Awesome,
and then Real Deal Prime gifting a Pub Sports Radio membership. Billy Friedrich accepting it. And then Rich H now joining Pub Sports Radio. That means so much to us, guys. Thank you so much for that. It means an absolute ton. So I guess it comes down to this, and I'll bet this, over and over and over again in my life. If the Devils with their 23-3 record minus Jack Hughes, and I don't care that the Blues don't have Tarasenko. I don't care at all. He was not. His head wasn't right. Now he's with his countrymen, and maybe his head gets right, but we'll see. But if the Devils without Jack Hughes played in St. Louis against the Blues on a 2-game winning streak, coming off a game where they score 6 goals and feel good about themselves after what's been a very tough season, if they played over and over and over and over and over again, the Blues would win more than 43.48% of the time. And that's what I'm getting at plus 130. And I'll bet that every single opportunity I get, and I truly, truly believe it. I truly believe it.
Yeah, no, and I'm not trying to talk anyone off if they're on St. Louis. I just, I'm just gonna, it's a good point. Looking at the plus minus, like we love to, Jim. St. Louis's plus minus has been, they've been really good since the break. But then looking at the Devils, they're good too. Ryan Graves plus 5, Platt plus 3, Heischer's a plus 4. So it should be a good game. That's why I didn't take regulation or anything here. I'm not trying to get cute. It could go to overtime, but I think the Devils get it done here.
2 games left before we get into NBA. 10 p.m. Eastern, Philadelphia Flyers 22-23-10, 11-9-7 on the road at Seattle Kraken, 30-18-6, 13-10-3 homework Climate Pledge Arena, Seattle, Washington. Philadelphia 3-4-3. This is a fascinating capping scenario, this hockey game. So I'm looking forward to talk about it. Philadelphia 3-4-3 over the past 10, 13.6% power play, 87% penalty killing. Seattle 4-4-2, 14.8% power play, 80% penalty killing. You have Carter Hart and Grubauer listed. Not sure if they will be in. Is it Jones?
Yeah, I got Carter Hart and I got Martin Jones.
So Mike M says Flyers smash spot. This is a really interesting one. So Martin Jones, Carter Hart, 16, 15 and 9, 2.78 goals against average, 9-13 save percentage, 1 shutout. And I have Grubauer listed, so I have his numbers in front of me. Let's go over to the line history here for this one, Philadelphia, Seattle. We have Seattle opening up at minus 222, which was nuts. It got down to minus 176 at 8 in the morning. It's back up to minus 185. From a total scenario, this opened up at 6, juiced to the over. It's now quite heavily juiced to the under. So that's what's going on here. And why it's so riveting is this is the second half of a home and home. But the Kraken played a game in between.
Exactly.
That's wild. So they play on Sunday, and it's the only win of a 5-game road trip after the break for the Kraken, where they look bad. They went 4-3 at Philadelphia on Sunday. It was Philadelphia's second straight loss. So then the Kraken have to go play in Winnipeg. They lose in the 3-2 shootout on Tuesday in the Dirty Peg. And then they face Philadelphia here. I came very close to betting Philadelphia, and I pulled back. Sam Bennett is out tonight, and Saad is out for the Blues. Krug out, I guess, for sure. But Sam Bennett is out tonight. And I capped that with Bennett being out, so I'm not too concerned here. Isaiah Scurry says Flyers money line. Lee Davis is under here. Mike M says rested Metro teams line between minus 220 and I'm imagining that's plus 220, have gone 17-1 versus the Pacific. Mike M says love the money line, but the Flyers are 18-0 on the puck line after a loss. Wow. Take it away for us here, Gogster. The floor is yours. Flyers Kraken.
I love those stats from Mike M. In this game here, guys, you know that Philadelphia, 3-4-3. They've been stewing 4 games. They've had 4 days they've had off. 13, 14, 15. 5 days. 3 days. Coffee's wearing off. But anyways, looking at this game, Philadelphia guys in the first period, just last 10 games, Jimmy on the road, they're 7-3 to the over. And looking at Seattle defensively, they've had issues. 4 against Winnipeg. 3 against Philly, 6 against the Rangers, 3 against the Devils, 4 against the Islanders. And this is all since the break. All those have been on the road, but coming back here, I think there's going to be goals. I think this is going to be the goal fest. I was a little hesitant with the Detroit-Calgary game, but just looking at Jones, it's very subpar. If anything, I would be looking towards like a team total over on Philadelphia. Could be in the works too here, guys. 2.5 because Martin Jones 0-2, 0.836 goals against, 4.58 save percentage. His numbers historically, he's 10-5-2, but with a .894 and a 2.72 goals against. So it's just a matter of time. He's just so reliant on Seattle's offense, and now it's kind of slowed. It's kind of been a little stagnant. And Grubauer, he's been on the shelf for a long time. So either of these two goalies are just, in the long term, it's, the record's really good. But second half, I could see Seattle kind of slumping a little bit, and they have been. This game, Jim, I expect it to be goals similar to the last game. So I'm taking first period. Both teams to score plus 175. Love that number. And then both teams to score 3 goals. I think this is going to be a goal fest, just like it was in Philadelphia. Both teams to score 3 goals plus 195. So big, nice plus monies, as we like to say. Plus 175, both teams to score, and then both teams to score 3 goals at plus 195. I don't know who's going to win, but at that nice plus 170, I'd be looking towards Philly.
Yeah, you got it. I'm at Heat, letting us know first home game since January 28th for the Kraken. This makes me uncomfortable, this game. If it was just, if you weren't putting your money where your mouth was, I would bet Philadelphia and the under. But
Kraken are pissed after that bad road trip. Like, I think they're going to come out pissed off, but then look at Philly. They got beat 4-3 and then 2-1 against Nashville back-to-back before that. So, I can't make too many cases. Everything for me is looking towards overs here, guys. And I'm pretty confident in this one. But I was confident in the Islanders against Ottawa, Jim. I just got to talk about this Mandolese. Jesus, 46 of 48. Watched him here in Belleville. That's the best game. He hasn't played that well in Belleville his whole life, but obviously he's got better defense in front of him. But yeah, that's a crazy game, that Islander game. But anyway, I like this. I like this goal fest here in Philly, Seattle.
All right, well, let's keep rolling here. You are locked in. Final game in NHL. Lee Davis says Costa Rica, Jim, would take Philly -1. Yeah. Look, Costa Rica, Jim, was a little more freewheeling. Canadian
for the fam.
As a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. I would, but I am a little concerned about I do think the Kraken have heart, and I love Dunn and Larson, and that was a very embarrassing. This has happened before. Now we have Earl Sports already talking about the opportunity for the Kraken not make the playoffs at plus 350, and Dennis Garcia bet that 6 weeks ago at a nice plus 2 something. I think it was plus 210 or something like that. And then the Kraken answered. They've answered all year, so I'm very interested. But again, like, this show is not about giving out picks. It's about what are you betting? You put your money where your mouth is. And, that makes things a little more difficult, man. All right, let's move on. Last game on the board, 10 p.m. Eastern. San Jose Sharks 17, 27, 11, 12, 14, and 4 on the road at Vegas. Golden Knights 32, 18, and 4, 15, 13, and 0 at home. T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. Both teams 4, 4, and 2 over their past 10, but they've got there in very different ways. San Jose power play at 17.4%, penalty killing at 80%. Wow, he took him at plus 650. That was my bad. Wow, I didn't realize it was so huge. My bad, DG. Wow, I did not realize it was so alarmingly. What a wonderful risk-reward spot. And he's doubling down.
That's such a good play. Yeah.
He moved that. That was when I can't believe that was that high then. But that was when he gave me, we were in the chat talking about it, and he's like, what about the Rangers to make the playoffs? I was like, you got to be kidding me. It was minus 110. By the time I got to it, like, because it took a couple hours for me to be like, this is nuts. And it was minus 115, but at least I got 500 on it. San Jose, Vegas. Let's take a look at the line history here. We have Vegas opening up minus 229. They're down to minus 182. I felt the same way. I felt the exact same way. But then I just keep like, there's no chance at all I was going to bet the Knights in this spot. At first, I'll tell you at first. But the reason why I got off it was because I started seeing some positives from Vegas. This total was 6.5 to the over at minus 129. It's just been getting hammered to the under. And again, this goes back to my point why I ended up staying off of it. But Capo Kakinen, I'm not sure if he will be between the pipes for the Sharks. Sorry, what was that?
It's hard to say. They're both been day to day, and they had Aaron Dell in net for Pittsburgh last time. So
Billy Friedrich Carlson is not going to win the Norris Trophy. Carlson could score 100 points and not win the Norris Trophy. Is that fair to say?
Maybe if he gets traded. But
Let me dive deeper into that, Billy. But I don't. The way I see it, Karlsson could score 100 points and not win the Norris Trophy. I don't know if Adam Fox has done enough, but watching the Rangers step up, I'd let me study that a little more. But okay, so it's Aiden Hill. He's been very good over his last 3 games. And look, this is a 26-year-old that has earned this opportunity. Is Logan Thompson that much better than him? Is he looking right now going, I could be the number 1 goaltender for the Vegas Golden Knights? And I think that's what he's thinking. And he's been very good. Stone remains out. Knights coming off a 7-2 win at home over the Ducks on Sunday. Sharks coming off a second loss 3-3 win at home to the Penguins on Tuesday. I came close to betting Sharks first period, but when I started looking more into Aiden Hill, I was like, this is a kid. He's 6'6" or something, right? He's so tall. He fills up the whole net, and now he's got confidence. He's got a team playing in front of him. Now, this is a very important thing to look out for, and I think this is part of the reason why this is going under. The Vegas Golden Knights power play over the past 10 games is at 5.3%. So remember, the Bruins is at 8% or something like that. The Knights is at 5.3%. So you have these. It's very important. It's more important for the Knights because they're always going to give you high totals. I've stayed off of this point at this point, but take it away for us here, Sharks, Knights.
Yeah, the Sharks had a really bad game out against Pittsburgh. But looking at the goalies here, Ryan Murakakin, and that's the problem with me here, Jim, with San Jose. They don't have goaltending right now. They went with Aaron Dell last time out, so they can't go back to Dell. There's no way. Aiden Hill, he's been just great. 2-0 in his last 2-0 last few games. .935 save percentage. Overall, 6-4 at home. .920 save percentage. 2.33 goals against. And they're pretty much healthy, Jim. They've got back all their defense that were hurt. This is a team I'm pretty high on. And we just saw Logan Thompson took the role. Watch, Aiden Hill's going to take this role and run with it. Because Brossoit got called up. So we should see Brossoit here coming up if they got some back-to-backs. But I'm going to be on looking at Vegas too. I can see why this has gone under or why it's leaning under. Penalty kill, 93% for San Jose since the break, 85% for Vegas. And then both teams are over 80% penalty kills, home road splits on the year. So this is but the thing is, it's just the goaltending I can't trust for San Jose guys. And they're missing Simic and Gadjovic, butchering his name, the fighter there. He's got a hard left. He's out along with, their goaltending situation is just too dicey. I expect Vegas to beat San Jose here. I'm not going to think twice about it. It's going to be in the parlay, Jimmy. This is the last leg of the parlay. We got Vegas guys, Devils, and Carolina regulation at plus 254 for you. So that's going to be the 3-team money line banger. I like it too.
The Hurricanes I thought was in regulation.
Yeah, sorry, did I not say reg?
Yeah, you did. So Hurricanes regulation, and then Devils money line, Vegas money line.
Yeah.
Okay, and that comes out to what?
254.
Plus 254. All right, that is NHL for you. It's funny. I've been so frustrated and dealing with some stuff, and and all of a sudden talk hockey for what is deemed too long by our friend Von Polo, and I love Von Polo very much, but I enjoy it immensely. Very, very, very fun, and I want to just get the chance to talk hockey with Gogster once a week, here, and I want to just milk the shit out of it. All right, let's review all action. Gogster has a parlay: Hurricanes regulation, Devils money line, Vegas money line. I did not bet this. This came out here from the show. I think I'm gonna cut the under. I can't have 3 units on this game. I'm not comfortable with that. But Habs first period plus a half at -115. Canadiens team total over 2 at -114.
I like that.
I do too. I feel like I like the under 2, but I just we'll see what happens.
I could see this going over. I could see being more of an over. Like Montreal, they don't want to, but their offense has been humming, and defensively, that's my worry for them. So
I don't know. Jake, and DC Capper says San Jose under. I'm interested actually in that under 6.5. Vegas just scored 7 goals last out against the Ducks.
That's the Ducks though. That's one of the they're ass cheeks. Sorry.
They are. Jets Columbus, we stayed off. And then this is my triple up spot. And Gogster followed suit with a triple up himself. I'm on the under 6.5. The Caps team total under 3 and the Panthers -1. Those are my 3 spots in that game, and I can't wait to watch it. Panthers -1 plus 139. Capitals team total under 3 -112. And Florida Washington under 6.5. Usually I'd be nervous with the triple up, and I'm just really excited. Gogster, no goal first 9 plus 110. First period under 1.5 plus 140. And Capitals team total under 3 -112. Yep. Troy Torrance says, after doubling my unit size over the NFL season, I'm downsizing a bit due to a terrible run. Troy, what I do is I have different unit sizes for different sports. So you don't need to go across the board. You can, but there's all different ways of doing it. And cutting your unit size, after doubling it, this is fine. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but 14 months ago, I cut 25% off all of my unit sizes across the board, and then I got hot, of course, but I didn't get hot right away, and then I got hot and I put them back. But so that's important stuff. Let's dance. Thank you for joining us. So let's go over the more action here. Gogster's on the Preds under 2.5, Bruins in regulation. Ron Crawford is on the Bruins spreadsheet play today, and I'm on the Bruins -1. Detroit, Calgary, we've stayed off. I'm on the Blues at plus 130. So I'm going heads up with Mr. Gogster and Blues Devils. We'll add another layer of fun. Gogster's on first period, both teams to score in Philadelphia, Seattle, and both teams to score 3 at plus 195. And San Jose, Vegas, Gogster's using Vegas as part of his money line parlay. And Lucas said that I copied your unit shrinking around Christmas. Worked well for me, less stress. Yeah, what was happening to me, Lucas, was because of the unit size. I stopped. I was hesitant moving on some dogs that I would never have been before.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's just cut 25% off of it so I can keep firing at these dogs. So, it's important. It's important we talk it all out. There we go. And I do have some interest in that under 6.5 in San Jose, Vegas. So I've got enough action. And I'm very interested in that Philadelphia, Seattle spot. Mr. Gogster, we had Billy Friedrich tail your action at the Genesis golf tournament here. Is there anything that you want to mention for the Genesis for people to look for and live action for as the tournament, I believe, started this morning, right?
Yeah, started bright and early there at 10:30. Yeah, I got a 6-pack. I'll go over, or actually 8-pack, but I'll go over my top 4 golfers for you. I got Cantlay, I got Justin Thomas, I got Matsuyama and Tom Kim. Cantlay's tied for first right now, -2. So, guys, jump on those golfers if you haven't already. Got the show every Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern with Conor Mac. Hit 4 of the last 6 outrights, Jimmy. So it's been the best golf run I've had in my career. So it's been really fun. Look forward to it every week, just like the hockey show. So it's fun as always, Jimmy. Everyone in the chat, be good. Catch the tickets. I'll tweet out my action as always, Eagle47_.
I love it. There he is, Mr. Gogster, Pride of Belleville, Ontario. Also with the golf show, you can tell that they're winning because we would double the views from this tournament to the last tournament. Double the views, and that will keep going. That's what winners. When you start winning, you start more people want to watch, and so great work from Gogster and Conor Mac. Conor Mac will be joining us here shortly. Let's get into NBA, coming off a 2-0 day that I desperately needed. New York, Atlanta under 233.5. Was just a very easy casher. The Nets -1 was a very easy casher. But when you're struggling in a sport, you cut down the quantity of your action, which I've done. And of course, Lakers, Pacers in the over in Cleveland, Philadelphia would have been cash. But I can't just swing around that kind of money right now. It's irresponsible if you're not succeeding. So I tried to tell myself that, but the frustration continues here when you don't move on spots that you would have moved on 2 weeks ago. But I can explain it, and we all deal with it, and it's just part of this roller coaster world that we love so much in sports capping. So let's get to work. We have 3 games in NBA before the All-Star break, and I think all of this talk about how tricky it is kind of got in my head. It is tricky, but we were excellent in our breakdowns yesterday. Excellent. It was just everything was clear as a bell, but I was still hesitant. And we've gone over that. So let's get to work. 7 p.m. Eastern. Milwaukee Bucks 40-17, 16-12 on the road at Chicago Bulls 26-31, 16-12 at home. United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Now, the guests that we have in NBA, they're not hitting at the rate that they were hitting last year. When we all started cashing ridiculously in the second half of the season, and I expect them to start doing that, and I expect to heat up. One of the things where I'm like, and I've often felt this. I was like, how can I lose an NBA because of the cappers that we have on screen and the cappers that we have here in the chat? The Troy Torrance says, want to hit you up yesterday to live bet Indiana. I thought about it too. But I have certain rules, and like I thought about it, Troy. It's so funny that you said that. Saturate says, if anyone recommends the Bulls today, I'm blocking you for a month. Okay, so one of the things that I guess, and I'll talk about over and over again, is the cappers that we have in the chat. Dan Kelly giving us this information here, and it's beautiful. He says, Bulls are in the second of a back-to-back, third game in 4 days, fourth game in 6 days, seventh game in 11 days, sixth straight game without 2 consecutive games at home or 2 days rest at home. He's on the Bucks -7 and says, but if the Bulls lead at halftime, he's going to double down on the Bucks. And we're lucky, very, very fortunate to run with cappers like Dan Kelly. So every reason to scream Bucks. We'll pull out the line history and the cash flow, but shout out to our Dan Kelly. All right, pulling up sports insights. Didn't want it up for NHL. I don't feel like it helps for NHL. But let's bring it up for NBA. Bigger markets and can explain the swings. Although there was no explanation for me why after Miles Turner was announced in the move to point that it would come back immediately towards the Bulls. And then it's 39-15 in the blink of an eye. But of course, Pacers come back and take care of business here. Let's take a look at the line history for this one. We have the Bucks opening up at -7. Pinnacle didn't open this up till 7 this morning. So opening up at -7. It lasted at 7 for an hour and 14 minutes before it moved to 7.5. And then it moved to 8 at 9:15 this morning. It's 8.5 everywhere else. Total wise, this opened up at 230. It's now at 229.5. Take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have over here we go. We have 8,891 tickets in. 66% of the tickets and 84% of the cash is on the Milwaukee Bucks. Jacqueline, great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Then 37% of tickets and 70% cash is on the under. We've only seen a half-point move there. Again, the pace 101.78 for the Milwaukee past 5, Bulls 99.20. Bucks coming off their 11th straight win, an underwhelming 131-125 overtime victory over Boston on Tuesday. It was, they didn't step up against a team that was missing key parts, a team that they could meet in the Eastern Conference Final. Drew 40, Giannis Antetokounmpo 36. Now, one of the angles here, which is with this final game before the break, I'm curious. No one's brought it up, so maybe it's because it's a game before the break. But we look at this Bucks team that's 40-17. 2 of those losses have come from the Bulls. The Bulls have handed them 2 losses. Saturated says with DeMar back, they might compete beyond the first quarter, but Bucks will cover this by the end. Bulls just can't close. BJ says, Bucks is the play last game before All-Star break. I don't see Giannis and company losing this game, plus working on double revenge. There we go. There. So BJ talking about that double revenge. And DeRozan back, and DeRozan has to come back if he wants to play in the All-Star game. So I don't know if he's actually healthy. Big O is on the Bulls plus 4.5 and Bulls first half winner plus 205. This is starting to come across as a live bet game, isn't it? Don't we, with DeRozan back and maybe the Bucks not completely invested early because it's the All-Star break right after? Is this a spot where the Bulls could get off to a start here? So DeRozan went for 36 and a 118-113 win at Milwaukee on November 23rd, and then he went for 42 in a 119-113 home win on December 28th. And I wasn't sure if DeRozan would be available tonight, but I knew that he had to if he was going to be available for the All-Star game. So, and Danny Vladar, likely in net for Calgary. AOD says the Bulls in Cancun. Dan Kelly says DeRozan probably has an all-star game bonus in his contract. Mike M says when teams lost previous 2 meetings, it has potential to be a trifecta over spot. Bucks first half team total over 57.5, first half over 112, over 229. Big Luch. No, man, this is we're all sports here. Bulls on the second half of back-to-back are losing their 5th straight game, 117-113 of the Pacers last night. It was pretty wild. Pretty wild watching them succumb after a 39-15 first quarter lead. I initially was like, look, I got to get in pregame in this, but something is telling me that this is just the perfect live betting situation. And are the Bulls' legs going to be heavy in the second half? Dan Kelly says Pete caps women's curling, for Christ's sake. Not just Pete. Our Dennis Garcia, our Sky Dragon, excellent curling capper. So I guess my feeling is starting to change here. This just seems perfect. Now, total-wise, I would like to go under it, but I'm surprised that the market isn't moving. So then the Bulls team total under 110.5. Are they going to get over 110.5? Regis Austin says Bucks first quarter -2.5. Huh. This is one of those, I think this is a little trickier than it looks. Just because we're about to get into the break. The Bulls fell apart in that last game. DeRozan's going to come back. And I want to see. I just want to see if the Bucks are locked in right off the top. So, no Europa. Scarminati, I apologize. No Europa action. We do have cappers in the chat that rock that, and I kind of stay in my lane with that. But this is just a live bet scenario. I do have interest in the Bulls team total under 110.5. But isn't that a feeling? Don't you think that at some point, if I'm right and the Bulls show some heart early, that maybe that we get a better line on that? The Bulls team total under 110.5 seems to me like the spot here. And I expect to move on it. The Bulls team total under 110.5. All right. Mike M says, win or lose doesn't matter. Just whack the trifecta over. So if he's so heavy on the over, then how can I move on the Bulls team total over? Under, excuse me. I guess I'll take that off if Mike's so confident on the over, and I will wait to live bet this. Vincent Suggs, no, I do not think the Bucks lose this basketball game under any circumstances. So what? What do you want me to bet them on the money line? Is that what you want from me? You want me to take a -360 on the game before the All-Star break? No. But I just think this is I'm not certain that the Bucks are going to be completely locked in, and that's the thing we deal with the first game before the All-Star break. So I'm going to watch and live bet this one here, and hopefully get a better price on the Bucks, and also look for a price on the team total under if the Bulls come out flying. So, okay, so I guess there's going to be no pregame action with Mike M so confident on the over here, and I think the Bulls' legs are going to be tired late. That was a tough game against the Pacers, and they showed some effort once the Pacers got right back into the game. Okay, let's move on to the next spot on the board, and we have full line value in this next spot. Let's move over to Washington Wizards at Minnesota Timberwolves. We have the Wolves opening up at -3 at -103. They're now -3 at +101. It hasn't moved off this 3 here. Total-wise, we have it opening up at 235.5, and it's dropped to 234.5. I'm very curious to see what Ant Edwards does here. A first-time All-Star. Is he going to be locked in for this game? It feels like a spot where the Wizards are trying to prove something, and no one has any idea what the hell's going on in Minnesota. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. As I said, Washington being given full line value. Regis Austin looking at Wizards first quarter over. And Dan Kelly says another reason to be on the Bucks. For quite a while in the past couple of months, the Bucks were the most tired team in the league. Now they're pretty well rested. And Lucky Lefty says that Bucks first quarter sounds good. So 15,030 tickets in, 45% of the tickets and 80% of the cash is on Washington. 59% of the tickets and 21% cash is on the over. So, feels like sharp money on Washington. Feels like sharp money's on the under. So I would like to get involved with this, but let's talk it out first. I feel like the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team total under is in play. If their star isn't locked in, because he's about to head off to his first All-Star game, which is so exciting for him. If he's not locked in, how's Minnesota going to fare in this game? Washington 3-2 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 96.1 possessions a game. Minnesota 3-2, playing at a pace of 102.2 possessions a game. Wizards come off their third win in 4 games. It was very impressive. 126-101 at Portland on Tuesday night. They've won 9 of 13, but that's not even the big thing. They've won 6 of their last 8 on the road. 6 of their last 8 on the road. Porzingis 28, 12, and 5. Timberwolves coming off their second win in 3 games, 124-121 in Dallas on Monday. Edwards goes for 32. He's having a great season. Rudy Gobert coming off a 9-for-9 game, 14 boards as well. I just don't like him. Scarminati leaning towards under the total. And by the way, Saturated says Bulls are still the number 1 team first quarter against the spread in the league. Says that he'd be careful fading in the first quarter. Great call, Saturated. Hope you're feeling better, my man. I know that you had the surgery here recently, so thinking about you, buddy. Or I don't know about surgery, but it was. All right, interesting stat from Swiss Horton as well. So when I look at this, I think 2 things. I think the Wizards are finishing off this pre-All-Star break really, really strong. I want to back them. And also, I think that I want the team total under for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I would like both of these spots. I feel like they're both kind of sharp places to be. The +3 at -115 for the Wizards, and then the team total under 118.5 for the Wolves. I like it. Mike M says Wizards 4 in a row, first half spot at Target Center. So Lee Davis saying Washington 7-1 to the over versus Northwest Division. That makes me a little nervous. Matt Paulin says the last 10 between these teams have gone over. But the Wizards' pace is down to 96.10 possessions a game. That makes me nervous, your stats. But I guess I'm going to sit with it for a little longer. But for me, it's going to be the Wolves, team total under, and the Wizards. Montembeau in net for the Habs. Wow. Big turn of events after the shutout for Allen. Damn. I haven't bet those Montreal spots yet. Thank you for sharing that. There's TJ in the house. Great to see you. Says, are there any contests starting? Good. Well, we have our UFC every Saturday. UFC contests every Saturday. Damn, that's not what I wanted. I'm going to copy and paste that. Thank you for sharing that here. Look out. Wolves 6-1 to the over on 2 days rest. But Lee, what do we do with the idea that they're about to go on vacation? This team that already is showing us very little heart this year. I mean, do we take it? Doesn't that change everything? I'd love to hear what Dan Kelly's database has to say about it. On the outside looking in, says Giannis only knows how to play one way, and that's hard. So if he plays, the Bucks will be locked in. I hear that. We also just heard that we've known it, but the Bulls' first quarter against the spread are the best team in the league, and they're coming off a tough loss, and they get DeRozan back. Look, the Bucks are going to win the basketball game. I think that I just want to watch it. I want to watch it and bet it. I think it's a perfect live betting game, unless the Bucks just from the tip-off win the whole thing. So we'll see. Wizards, Wolves. I'd like the Wizards and the Wolves team total under. Keese money in the house. What up, Keese? All right, let's move on to the final game here on the board before we get into college basketball. Keese said, have you gone over St. Francis, Pennsylvania, St. Francis, Brooklyn already? No, that's next. And Gobert game time decision. Interesting. Maybe that interesting. No, that'll be our first game in college basketball here, and we crushed that spot. We crushed it when they played last time. If you guys remember, we were on St. Francis of Pennsylvania, and they shot 70% from the field in that game when these two teams met. So Middleton out tonight, says Mike M. So lots of things happening. But by the way, the database likes second quarter of Washington. Okay, let's move on to the final game here before we get into college basketball. 10 p.m. Eastern, LA Clippers 32-28, 17-15 on the road. Phoenix Suns 32-27, 20-9 at home. We're at Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Clippers 3-2 over the past 5, playing the pace 98.16 possessions a game. Phoenix 4-1, playing the pace at 100 possessions a game. Take a look at the line history here for this one. Then the cash flow. Here we go. For movement, we have the Clippers opening up at plus 105 to now -1 at minus 101. There's a 1.5 move that happened at 7:48 a.m. Let's go over to the money line. That means the Clippers opened up at minus 101. They're now minus 105. So not very big difference. From a total scenario, opening up at 224, we're now at 223. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. They've given the Phoenix Suns about 33%, maybe just under 30, maybe 30% line value. 53% of the tickets, 55% of the cash is on the Suns. 37% of tickets and 53% of cash is on the under. It seems like the market, wow. So with Middleton being announced out, the Bucks are now 6.5-point favorites. Middleton announced out, Bucks are now 6.5-point favorites. Shit. Ugh, this capping moves pretty fast. Feels like Ferris Bueller. All right, let's go. Clippers snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 134-124 win at home over the Warriors on Tuesday night. Kawhi, 33 points. Paul George, 20 and 8. And we saw the new players here for the Clippers. Mason Plumlee, we saw with his high energy and low skill. 8 points, 5 boards in 17 minutes. Eric Gordon, 7 points, 3 assists in 22. And Bones Highland, 6 points, 16 minutes. Happy to get out. Dan Kelly says, doesn't scare me. They're used to playing without Middleton. No, it doesn't scare me at all either. It's just you're going to get a better line. Now, with the Bucks at minus 6.5, now we're talking. So maybe I move before the game starts. I want to see how low that total goes. But I'm with you, Dan. It's just about getting a better number, for me. Jimmy Gomez says, since October 2012, Bucks as a away favorite, coming off a win as a favorite when opposing the Bulls, 6-0 against the spread, 6-0 in the money line. Lee Davis says Phoenix 7 straight home unders. Suns coming off their second straight win, 120-109 at home over Sacramento on Tuesday night. Book goes for 32. That's his third game back from the groin strain. Ayton for 29. And Chris Paul, 19 assists. You can tell this team is excited. 5th win in their last 6 games. You can tell this team is very excited about having KD about to join them. So this is the final game before the All-Star break. I'm just Keith's money looking at Paul George over 20.5 points. Says he hasn't hit it in the last 2. However, I think it's his bounce back. These two teams, we can imagine, are going to see each other at some point in the playoffs. Wine Time says I'm all over the Suns -1 in this spot. I find it interesting that the Clippers have moved to a favorite here after playing very, very well in that win over Sacramento. Bo Jackson says 90s night tonight in the desert, and KD will have his press conference later today. I find this a really difficult cap. After live betting the Bucks game, do we just move right over to live betting this one? And then is this going to be a highly contentious basketball game? Because if it is, then the under is the spot. So, God, am I going to sit here with an under here? Swiss Horton, I love it. So let's take one last look again at this total. So 37% of tickets are on the under and 53% of the cash. And we have watched this total do what exactly again? This total has gone from 224 down to 223, juice to the under. Saturate says Clips better get them now before KD shows up. And the Clippers are coming off playing very well at home over the Warriors. Big O says this is definitely a pass for me. Can we expect both teams are coming off playing so well. I guess I'm going to need more time. And we've got an 11-game NCAA slate to attack. And Dan Kelly says, I don't like it, but the database demands that I'm on first half Clippers. So let me write that down. DK is going to be on the Clip Show first half. Okay. Well, Daquan, we think Paul George is playing. There's no reason why he wouldn't be playing. We expect him in the lineup at this point. I don't know if anyone can jump on this. Lee Davis says, is this a Paul assist over spot? it kind of goes against one of the rules, Lee, where he's coming off a 19 assist game. Lucky Lefty says go with the over, so maybe I should swear Lucky's on the over. I'm certainly not going to bet the over personally, but you might keep me off of the under. All right, let's move into college basketball. College basketball up next, and this is the first time all year where I wake up in the red in college basketball. God, 94 and 86, 52.2% down, 0.7 units. 1-3 yesterday. Cash was UC Santa Barbara first half, but Indiana first half, Mississippi State full game, and St. Bonaventure first half, ugly spots, no wins. So C-Mac will be joining us here. I just saw him backstage. I'm sure he's going to be back here shortly. So let's get into college basketball. And we're going to start with the 2 p.m. game, a game we've had a lot of success with. Matt Pons has a lot of money going to over and lines moving down. Yeah, that's without a doubt. All right, and Billy Friedrich giving us his best play on the board. Nickel State -1.5 is his play of the day. Nickel State. So, and we heard from DC Capper's buddy who's putting up $5K a game. He's on Gonzaga, Loyola, Marymount under 154.5. Billy Friedrich giving us the Nickel State. All right, let's get to work. We start with 2 p.m. Eastern action. We've capped these two teams in the NEC quite a lot this year. I'm looking forward to this one. St. Francis Red Flash, 9-16, 6-6 in conference. Been playing very poor basketball of late. At St. Francis, Brooklyn Terriers, 13-3, 6-7 in conference. We're at Pope Physical Education Center in Brooklyn, New York. Take a look at the line history for this one and the cash flow. Move over here. And the last time these two teams played, the sharp money was all over St. Francis, Pennsylvania, and we moved on them, and they were very, very good. The wild part about that is that they have very few wins, but that one was one very easy one for them where they shot 70% from the field. Is that right? Excuse me, 60.4% from the field, 70.6% from three. They were up 46-21 at the half in that one. Let's take a look at the line history here. Let's move on to the extra games. Here we go. And no surprise here, the Terriers line's moving towards the Terriers. So let's move over to Bet Online here. Move over here. Bet Online. So St. Francis and Brooklyn opening up as a pick'em. They're now -1. So a 1-point move to St. Francis of Brooklyn. 1-point move. Let's see where the cash is. I thought they'd be bigger favorites in this. So let's take a look at where the cash is for this game. Again, this game pops off in 1 hour and 16 minutes. We have 4,305 tickets in for this affair, which is wild to think that there'd be this much in. And here comes our NCAA expert, star of our Net Profits show, Migda Mac in the house. Conor, how are you?
I'm good, Jimmy. What's going on?
Not too much. Exciting. We're going to open up with this 2 p.m. game, help us all get through the day. 4,305 tickets in, 79% of the tickets in, 88% of the cash is on St. Francis of Brooklyn. And the line's not moving towards them. Oh, well, it moved a point since yesterday. That's a little surprising. I had planned to back them. 59% of tickets and 99% of cash on the under. Let's go over to the under here. The under opening up at 138. Got down to 135.5, and there's been buyback, a 1.5 buyback, taking this to 137. Wow. St. Francis, Pennsylvania comes in off their 5th loss over the past 6 games, 75-60 at home to Merrimack on Saturday's 1-point dogs. They're just playing bad basketball. St. Francis of Brooklyn coming off their 2nd loss in 3 games, 62-51 at Stony Brook on Saturday's 5-point dogs. And that game back in January 20th, best game of the year by far for the Red Flash. So we have 10 of the 11 games today that we're going to be talking about the teams have met. And here's one where you'd think the Terriers are going to have revenge in their minds and take care of business. C-Mac, don't you find this line extremely fishy?
Yeah, I do for sure, especially for a PA team that hasn't been very good on the road. at all. Obviously, we got a little rivalry here, both the St. Francis's, PA, and Brooklyn, but 1-12 on the road. You mentioned that first game just shot the lights out, and this team can shoot, but I don't think they shoot anything like they did that first game, which was pretty good. They shot crazy from three there. Brooklyn has the better defense here. The lone thing is, like, do they struggle again against an offensive team? They just had back-to-back losses to Stonehill. This is a dead under team here in Brooklyn with the better defense. And the flip side, Francis wants to get up and down and is an over team. So that's why I'm going to stay off the total. But I think if you like Brooklyn, you think the defense comes to play and you lean under. I mean, I'm not going to touch this total here, but I'd be on Brooklyn or nothing in this one in revenge. I just don't think PA shoots it that well again.
I find this shocking. Not only
their offense can struggle though, but PA doesn't have a great defense. So
wow. Pinnacle.
Yeah.
Pinnacle just moved 45 minutes ago. Pinnacle just moved, and I went to bet online, but Pinnacle just moved St. Francis of Pennsylvania as the favorites. Yeah.
They can score. I think they just think they're going to have trouble stopping them.
These 2:00 games, when they're these kind of lazy spots, we like betting unders, and then we bet them nonstop. Mike M saying St. Francis, New York under 16 of the last 17 day games. And then here we go for the under. These guys, it's got to be a game, like you talked about the St. Francis rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
I can't bank on this being a lazy, boring 2 p.m. game.
Yeah.
So
I think it's the under. I mean, that's what I'd be on, like I said.
So would I, but I just, a lot of that is predicated for my daytime unders on just, here's an afternoon game in front of nobody, who cares? But they're going to care here.
They're going to care. There might not be a ton of people there, but they will care.
Troy saying Brooklyn will out hustle these boys. Their hustle stats are legit. Lee Davis is, I think,
they're gritty.
Stinky.
I'll be right back. I
Sure.
gotta go. Someone's at the door.
Yeah, no worries. Look, this has become I'm gonna have to stay off of this basketball game. Clearly, the initial move was towards the under, and the angles that I used to succeed, I can't use here. So I'm gonna have to stay off the spot. It's funny, C-Mac, having to go get the door, because when my door rings during the show, that person's not getting answered. That's right. Okay, so look, I hate this. I want to have action on a 2 p.m. game, but I'm going to have to stay off of it. Or bet St. Francis of Pennsylvania. And do I want to bet St. Francis of Pennsylvania after they were incredible in that game against St. Francis of Brooklyn? I mean, what? Mike M says last St. Francis game to go over went over because of OT, and they scored 10 points total between the two of them under spot. Yeah, I get it. I just look, if I had a free play, I would bet the under. But the fact that it went down initially at 138, and then people started buying it back up, and I know this is a game that means something to these two teams. For a 2:00 game, it convolutes things for me. And Matt Paulin says books are begging me to take Brooklyn. Yeah. It's very, very, very strange. That's not what I was expecting, and I apologize to not give you a better leadership for an angle here. But this isn't about a fun show or giving out picks. This is about winning. And all right, let's move on. We got CMAC back in action. Let's move on. 6:30 p.m. Eastern. The number 3 ranked Purdue Boilermakers, 23-3, 12-3 in the Big Ten at Maryland Terps, 17-8, 8-6 in the Big Ten. We're at Xfinity Center in College Park, Maryland. Maryland playing some very good basketball right now. Let's take a look at the line history and the cash flow and set a quick table for CMAC, our star of net profits every day at 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, I should say, from 5 p.m. Eastern. Let's move over to the line history here. And we have Purdue opening up at -1.5. There's been no movement. There had been a half-point move towards Purdue, but it's come back at Pinnacle. Let's see what BetOnline has done. As we know, they'll have opened this up earlier. BetOnline has opened this up -1.5, and BetOnline did the opposite. Wow. So around 3 a.m., Purdue were 2-point favorites. At 10 a.m., this was a pick'em. This was a pick'em at BetOnline. Then at 10 a.m., a move towards Purdue. So let's screw the spreads. Let's go over to the money line. So Purdue opening up at -132, and they're now -117. I think that's the best way to explain it. Okay. So and if you look at just the money line, it's only gone towards Maryland. It's only moved towards Maryland. There's been a 2-cent buyback at one point. That's it. Totals wise, it's opened up at 135. It's now at 132. So the idea, can Purdue possibly lose again? Let's take a look at the cash flow here. I think this will tell a lot of the story. So we have the highest line value on the card with the Terps. Highest line value on the entire card. Well, I'd say it's probably tied with UNC Wilmington and Georgia State. 12,126 tickets in. 41% of the tickets, 79% of the cash on Maryland. 53% of the tickets, 58% of the cash on the under. Purdue comes in off its second loss in 3 games, 64-58 at Northwestern on Sunday as 5-point dogs. Maryland comes in off its fifth win in 6 games, 74-68 at home over Penn State. Saturday is 8-point favorites. Maryland lost at Purdue 58-55 back on January 22nd. In that game, they were down 35-21 at the half, and then they were the better team. Wow. This makes me want to take Maryland. Let's hear from CMAC. Purdue, Maryland. Take it away.
Yeah, this Purdue team, it's played well on the road, but has struggled on the road. In their last game versus Northwestern, like it's had sometimes. Last Thursday, we had Purdue. We'll talk about the Iowa team later. Was an easy win. They just seem to play different basketball, and they shoot it a lot better at home. On the road here, they struggled. Just their last road game. This has happened consistently, and this is where we'll get to the total. This team is slow. I mean, this Purdue team is just really, really slow. Like 3-3-7, their pace. They don't shoot the three well. That last game against Northwestern, I think they shot 36%. They were 5 for 22 from 3. They did it a bunch of free throws in that game. Maryland, they're one spot. They're better at home. This is where you want this team. They shot it well their last game. But I don't know if they shoot it great here. Not only do I like Maryland, I like this under in this game. And that Maryland game, too, they shot 23 free throws. Talk about getting the whistle. They had 18 of 23. Penn State shot, 4? 2 of 4. Some of these road teams I've been going through when I go through the stats. Some of these road games, they shoot no free throws. It's like 2, 4, and the home team's getting over 15. So little home court whistle. So to me, it's Maryland. I like this under as well. I saw it 133 last night. I like it. I'm on the under. Give me the best number if you can get me a 132.5.
It brings up. I talk about the Undoing Project, but as my favorite book, but the book called Scorecasting. It's the hidden influences behind how sports are played and games are won. Mark Cuban writes I think it was at the introduction. I can't remember. But there's a whole chapter on that, exactly what you just said, and how it's more prominent in college sports. Yeah. The refs call plays for the home team. Again, I'm going to pop it here. It was if you read The Undoing Project and this one, I'm just going to pop it here. It's not the full name of it, but I'm telling you, it's going to help your capping so much. And there's a whole chapter on what CMAC just talked about. So BJ says Purdue coming off loss, the only thing keeping me off Maryland past me. I'm gonna move on Maryland. I'm gonna watch Purdue lose again. I feel like we've been in these situations before where I've thought the same way. Oh, I'm not gonna, and we watch them lose again because this is a tough stretch. Remember, let's go back to Connecticut. That's one thing. Remember Connecticut dominating, then they come into conference play and they lose, and we're like, well, they're not gonna lose again. Then they lose again and again and again. That's what happens when your competition is so stiff. And we've talked about Purdue not being maybe as good as their ranking indicates. Let's just take a look at the total here right now. We have it opening up at 135. There's 132.5s on the board, but that 132.5 at minus 110 at Bovada and Bet365, that's going to be 132 here in minutes, I predict. Because the 132.5 is minus 114 at Pinnacle.
Yeah, 132.5 under.
Yeah, I like it. I like it, C-Mac. I like both.
These games, too, with these, they're just so similar. The only thing that would get it is the offensive efficiency. Like I said, Purdue slow, Maryland really slow, good rebounding teams. So the 58-55 earlier, last year 62-61. These games are close. That's why if I'm going to go Maryland, I might keep it smaller. I'm going to wait 61-60. These teams just play it close. It's just close basketball games, period. So I'll wait with Maryland, even though I think I'm going to move. But, yeah, I'll take that under.
I'm going to move on both. On both. Mike M, looking at Maryland first half. Okay, let's keep rolling. We're going to head over to Conference USA here. By the way, give you guys a heads up as to our schedule here. Again, any day, anytime we have a show, I put the entire schedule in the video description. But we have Florida Atlantic, Middle Tennessee next, UNC Asheville, Radford, which I can't wait to talk about, a little Big South action. Then we go to the A-Sun, Liberty, Kennesaw State, UCF, Memphis over in the American, Colorado, Arizona State in the Pac-12, Ohio State, Iowa in the Big Ten, Santa Clara, BYU in the WCC, Utah, Arizona back in the Pac-12, and then we close up with WCC action, Gonzaga, Loyola. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. Number 25th ranked Florida Atlantic Owls, 24-2, 14-1 in conference. At Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders, 15-11, 8-7 in conference. Murphy Center in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Go over to the line history here for this one. And we have, let's screw Pinnacle, go right to Bet Online. We have FAU opening up at -4. Within an hour and 4 minutes, they were -5. They've come back since to -4.5. Totals wise, this opened up at 146 and has dropped to 144.5. Cash flow wise for this one, Middle Tennessee being given again about 30% line value, 3,948 tickets in, 45% of tickets and 62% of the cash on Middle Tennessee State, 56% of tickets and 75% of cash on the under. Billy Friedrich says, I was going to bet Middle Tennessee State, but their foul shooting is awful. Says, I'm off this one. Mike M says, FAU on the road after an OT is 0-7 outright. Ryan Mueller looking at backing FAU. Florida Atlantic comes in off its third straight win, 90-85 at home over Louisiana Tech in overtime Saturday as 11-point favorites. It was a very underwhelming performance. The opposite, well, not the opposite, I guess. Middle Tennessee looked awful in their last game. Absolutely awful. They were down 47-22 at the half at UAB. They were 9-point dogs. They lose 92-69. Not only that, but Middle Tennessee, so they're not only coming off a horrific loss at UAB, but they lost badly at FAU back on January 26th. They lose 85-67. This was a spot where I wanted to back Middle Tennessee State. I do not think that Florida Atlantic is as good as they've shown on the road. I think they're a pretty exciting team at home. But I thought I would get a bigger line than this. And whenever I stay off of a game, C-Mac, because I think I would get a bigger line, that team covers. And I'm usually, when I'm like, I thought I'd get more. Are you surprised at this line? Take it away for us, Florida Atlantic, Middle Tennessee.
A little bit. The one spot, Middle Tennessee off a couple of back-to-back losses. They've been good at home. This team's just won. They've been very, very good here. I've had them a few times at home. I had them against UAB, that OT game, January 16th. They beat them 74-73. I look too. This has gone down just a point or half point, like you mentioned. I think we see points in this game. Both teams have just been over machines as of late. We talked about college basketball, the overs and the offensive efficiency. And in games like this, you mentioned they're bad free throw shooting teams, which isn't good, but they just go to the line a ton late in these games. It's crazy. I'm looking at the over. I haven't bet it yet. I didn't get there. Both these teams have great score. We know how good FAU is, coming off another win, but now going on the road. I wanted more points, like you talked about with Middle Tennessee, because this team at home is better than they are on the road. They shoot it well. They're not better defensively. Obviously, FAU is. They have the better players, but yeah, I wanted a few more here to pull the trigger, Jimmy. But I'm looking at this over.
Matt Paulin's been giving great stuff in the show. He says Middle Tennessee's won its last 11 night games as home dogs versus conference opponents.
I mean, they're 23-5-3 their last 31 at home. All these stats, to me, it's just them. And the over. I think we see some points because they can't really stop anyone. I think the game, FAU will get theirs. So I think this game will be in the 70s with both of them. So that's why I'm looking at the over.
I want Middle Tennessee, and I wonder if I should just. I'm certainly not going to take a first half full game position, but I was about to bet first half, but then when it comes down to it, the problem with that 4 or the 4.5 is, you could be winning your bet the whole entire time until the last 30 seconds with fouls. And
yeah,
God, it makes me go back to the first half look, which I think I will. But if you had the option between first half and full game, what do you take, C-Mac?
I'd go full game. But I don't mind the first half if you're worried about the fouls. But they're not, they're not covering. They're getting points. I mean, it still works out. I mean, where they could lose. But I like them here at home. I'm going to really think about this. I think I'm going to pull the trigger on them. I just want to look up a few more things. But this Middle Tennessee team, don't play them on the road. But they've been very good to me at home.
I want them. There's no doubt in my mind I want them. I don't want to get too cute with this first half full game, but I'm not going to double up. So I'm going to be on Middle Tennessee. I guess I'm slightly leaning towards the first half. I'm going to be on Middle Tennessee. Okay, let's roll on. Let me move this over here. All right, next up.
Yeah, look at that. Real quick, I was on that over with UAB. They got to be better. See, look at those road. I mean, they gave up 93 and 92, the last two for Middle Tennessee. So, yeah, and I'm thinking I might get on the total here. That's what I'm going to wait on. But I think I'll be on something here in that game.
All right, we got some really fun matchups here. I try hard to get us to have different conferences and some fun matchups, not just the big marquee games. And this one is a bet I knew I was going to. I thought I was going to make, but I also need the market to kind of correlate with what I want to do here. Let's move over to the Big South. UNC Asheville Bulldogs 20-7, 12-2 in conference. At the Radford Highlanders 17-10, 11-3 in conference. Donald N. Dedman Center in Radford, Virginia. Take a look at the line history here. Move from over to Bet Online. Here we go. We have UNC Asheville opening up at +3.5. They're now +4. Totals wise, this opened up at 137 and is now 136. So a 1 point move to the under and a half point move to Radford, which I want Radford. Then we have cash flow. Let's get over to the extra games here. We have 815 tickets in. It's all coming in. Well, 58% of tickets are on Asheville, but big bets are coming in on Radford. 42% of the tickets, 91% of cash. Now, very small sample size, so we shouldn't get too caught up in it. 71% of tickets, 93% cash on the over. UNC Asheville comes in off their second straight win, 76-72 at Presbyterian on Saturday as 4.5-point favorites. Radford bounced back from their 61-48 loss at Gardner-Webb. We cashed with Gardner-Webb first half in that game. I didn't have the balls to take them for him, but they won. They bounced back in a 90-71 win at Charleston Southern on Saturday's 4-point favorites. They looked very good. It was an easy bounce back spot for them. And Radford lost at UNC Asheville 62-58 back on December 29th. I think Radford wins this basketball game, and I'm going to bet them. I just wanted to make sure everything was correlated and everything worked for me. So I'm going to bet Radford full game -4 to Rebenga, UNC Asheville Bulldogs. Take it away, C-Mac. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I'd like betting on both these teams, especially Radford's been really good to me, and against a team I didn't think would be this good. And I've just been rolling with them, kind of in a gym for me. You're good with Smith. This team can defend, especially at home. UNC Asheville, on the other hand, can score. They got some flat scores. That's what scares me. And to tell you, when I watch these two, I think Asheville's a little bit better. That's why I'm a little hesitant here to lay the 4. Radford also plays some very close basketball games, even here at home. They have Jones, Pember, McMullen. These guys can really shoot it for Asheville. Obviously, they beat them earlier. Both these teams, winners of 9 of 10. Man, I thought this was going to be a good basketball game. And as much as I love Radford, I think Asheville is in this game. I think it's very close. I'm going to stay off. I want to go with Asheville, to tell you the truth. As much as I love Radford, I've been on them a ton. I just watching these two, I think Asheville's a little bit better. But a massive game in this, for a team like Radford at home. That's why I don't blame you looking at them too. 15-9 against the number this year is Radford. Very good.
Mike, I'm saying Radford better road team than home team versus the number. I was leaning to the points. I don't. I get it, and I get. Look, UNC Asheville's had a better season, but when it comes down to this late in the year with the revenge factor and Radford at home and so much on the line, then I'm going to trust those. I'm going to trust that, and we'll see how it bangs out. I'm on Radford here -4, but fun breakdown. And we got more. We got another beauty one coming up right now. So we have arguably the 2 top teams in the Big South. Arguably, we have arguably the 2 top teams in the A-Sun. Let's get over there. 7 p.m. Eastern. Liberty Flames 21-6, 12-2 in conference. At the Kennesaw State Owls 20-7, 12-2 in conference. We're in Kennesaw, Georgia for this one. Kennesaw State's a fun basketball team. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have. Move over from Pinnacle to or the bet online. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Liberty opening up at -4. They got up to -7. So last night I was looking and I was like, wow, Liberty's now -5. I was like, I was thinking about moving on some of these games earlier, and I was like, whoa, let's just talk it out. Then they get all the way up to -7. So obviously you guys can tell that it was going to be a Kennesaw State or no bet. This total going from 138 to 137. So we have a huge move towards the Flames. Let's take a look at the cash flow and see if it's the same deal here. We have, where is this one? Here we go. They've given line value to Liberty. Look at this. 37% of the tickets and 62% of the cash is on Kennesaw State. But the books are just opening there. And there's 2,318 tickets in. This game has been bet. 62% of the tickets, 66% of the cash on the under. 62 and 66. We've seen it drop a point. But it dropped all the way down to 135.5. So we've seen that U-shaped movement, a buyback on the over here. Wow. So Liberty comes in off its second straight win, 83-73 at home over Eastern Kentucky. Saturday is 13.5-point favorites. Kennesaw State comes in off of sweeping a home over Jacksonville State. They won 54-52 at Jacksonville State on Thursday. Then they won at home on Saturday. Now, they just barely won 74-71 as 9-point favorites. But also, this is their first meeting of the year between Liberty and Kennesaw State. I believe this is the only game on the board that we have that there's not a second matchup. I guess I'm going to have to stay off of this here. Let's hear your breakdown, C-Mac. Liberty, Kennesaw State.
2 teams playing well. Both these teams, winners of 9 of 10, 20-7, 21-6. Both really good against the number. Liberty has all year, especially at home. They've been good and covered big numbers. This team obviously has a great defense. Some of the numbers, they're not a top 10 defense, obviously, but they have some numbers. in their defense overall. They're really tough. When I saw this forward, I thought Liberty's the better team, but I'm not going to lay it. And then to move now 2.5, 3 points, I think it's getting too much. I want to look at Kennesaw here at home. When you go through breakdown the games, they just played a lot more closer games. Liberty's been dominant, and that's why people, I think, jump on them last night. They saw what I saw at the 4. But this is a big home game for them. I wanted to touch, I forget what because it's not here in my notes. I got some of all the game stats that we don't have time to go through.
No, you can pop them up if you need a second.
But Liberty, this was it. Has won this game 9 straight years. Wow. 9 straight times since 2019. So last year was 193 in OT. But yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a row for Liberty. I mean, if Kennesaw's ever had the team, I mean, is it here? In here, we don't even need them to win. Can they lose by 7 or less? Tough. I'm looking at the points now. I don't know. Maybe if it touches 7, I'd be interested, but should be a good game.
Billy Friedrich says Liberty 2-4 against the spread as road faves this season. This is the first time Kennesaw State is a home dog. Says Kennesaw State, you just blind bet on the spread. They're 9-4-1 against spread on the road, 6-2 against spread at home. Eric Jones says this total's gone up to 138. So I need a sign from the books that they're concerned, and they're not giving me that sign. So I had planned to move on this game. I can't. It just doesn't work with the way I've been doing things in college basketball. So I'm off of Liberty Kennesaw State, and I also can't bet the under, thinking this is going to be a highly contentious basketball game because we've seen that U-shaped movement, and as Eric Jones said, it's just gone all the way up to 138. Mike M says Kennesaw has 13 straight home wins. Give me the 6.5. Oh, I get it, but I need a sign from the book. So
I'm gonna wait. I think I might pull the trigger on her.
Okay. And again, you guys know how CMAC works. He's going to tweet out generally after there's some games he'll lock in now because he wants a certain number, but he's going to tweet out his action after net profits at 5 p.m. Eastern. And there's so many games on today's card. So don't think that net profits isn't going to have a whole bunch of fresh looks. All right, let's move on. I'm off. 8 p.m. Eastern. Next up, UCF Knights 15-9, 6-6 in conference at Memphis Tigers 19-6, 9-3 in the American. We're at FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. Move over to the line history here for this one and go back to the big page. UCF. This one pops off at 8 p.m. Let's move to 8 p.m. games, and here we go. We have line movement here. Move over to Bet Online. We have UCF opening up at +7. They're now +6.5. It got down to 6, but right now it's at 6.5. So I should say that an hour and 2 minutes after this line came out, there was a 1-point move towards UCF. Then it came back towards Memphis, and right now they've settled at 6.5. The total opened up at 148. It moved up and then dropped. It got up to 150.5 and then dropped to 149.5. So it's up 1.5 from the opener. Let's move over to the cash flow for this one. Here we go. Jesus, sorry, so many games. I need to press Control F, and I have not done that. And let me do that right now, or Command F. Sorry, Memphis. Why am I not? Okay, nothing's helping here. UCF. Okay, I don't know why it's not found. Maybe it's not. Okay, I'm going to keep looking for it here on Sports Insights. UCF comes in off their second straight win, 96-52 at home over Tulsa on Saturday night as 14.5-point favorites. They shot 55.2% from the field and 47.2% from three, and they only turned the ball over 3 times. I do not want to back a team that comes off of that experience. You destroy Tulsa. You're at home in front of your fans. You're hitting threes. You're not turning the ball over. Memphis comes in off its second straight win, 86-77 at home over Temple on Saturday's 8.5-point favorites. Memphis lost at UCF 107-104 in double overtime back on January 11th. I want
wild
Memphis
game.
here. Take it away here for us, C-Mac. Floor is yours, UCF Memphis.
If you like Memphis, they've been playing good basketball. And really that second half on Sunday's game, I was on the over. Memphis overs have been very good, especially lately. And you mentioned that first game, 104 to 103, the double. That game was crazy. It's just Central Florida. What do you think of them? You know, they go to Wichita and get a solid win, and then they come home with Tulsa, a bad Tulsa team. I mean, this Tulsa team is rough this year. Just blow them out, like you mentioned. But before that, they had lost 5 straight. They just were dealing with injuries. Both these teams have some of their role players that are questionable in this game. So look it up. Young, Lomax, Dandridge for Memphis. Home team's been very good between these teams, 7-0 the last 7. I think Memphis is playing their best basketball. Penny Hardaway here. I don't really want to lay it with them here. I just think this game in the end could be close. I'm going to stay off.
Public is on Memphis, but not the big bets. 38% of the tickets are on Central Florida and 68% of the cash. Then you have line value for Memphis. You have almost 33% line value. 67% tickets, 88% cash is on the under. That total that went over was at 138.5 as well. That surprises me that the big bets are on UCF. I just don't see how UCF is supposed to play anything like they just played. And this game means so much to Memphis. So I know exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to be on Memphis first half. Give me a smaller line. And I do not expect UCF to play the way they just played after B. Now, maybe UCF, gets their shit together and makes this a close game by the end of it. And that's all fair. But I'm going to move on Memphis first half here and away from the sharp bets, big bets. And I think I can explain it. So I'm going to stick with it. And there's our sign up for UFC. Remember, Monday is your last day to sign up for UFC San Antonio if you want to sit with us. Now, you always get tickets whenever you want, and we can meet up for a beer, whatever. But if you want to sit with us in our group, that is Monday is the last day. Memphis, first half for me. C-Mac, you passing at this point?
Yeah, it's just a little bit too much here. They've disappointed me too many times, and even this year, Memphis. Lately at home, 1-6-1. I don't want them.
Okay, I'm going to take them first half here to show some, at least to take care of business early. We'll see if it succeeds. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board, and we head to our first foray into the Pac-12 today. Colorado Buffaloes at Arizona State Sun Devils. The Buffaloes 14-12, 6-9 in conference. Sun Devils 18-8, 9-6 in conference. We're at Desert Financial Arena in Tempe, Arizona. We have line history-wise. I have it set up better tomorrow. Colorado opening up as 2-point dogs and now 3.5-point dogs. The last 1-point move towards Arizona State happened at 9 this morning. Totals-wise, this opened up at 136. It's now at 139, a 3-point move towards the over. Robert Franklin, by the way, on Western Kentucky, plus 3.5 in the over at 130 for Robert Franklin. Move over to the cash flow for this one. Colorado, let me pull this up. Here we go. 3,974 tickets in. This is all Arizona State. 79% of tickets and 92% of the cash on Arizona State. Now over 4,000 tickets in. 50%, 50-50, but 90% of the cash on the under. 90% of the cash on the under, and it's gone up 3 points. So maybe some people deeming it's gone too high. I was hoping for different numbers. Colorado had their modest 2-game winning streak snapped in a 73-62 loss at Utah on Saturday's 4-point dogs. Arizona State coming off its second straight win. 76-2 at California on Saturday's 9.5-point favorites. Arizona State defeated Colorado 60-59 in Colorado back on December 1st. And the Buffaloes played sloppy basketball at home. They turned the ball over 20 times, and they had to deal with the consequences. Take it away for us here, C-Mac. Buffaloes, Sun Devils.
I really don't want either of these teams, but when I saw this 2.5, I mean, it kind of seems a little bit of fishy there, but it's moved Arizona's way. Colorado just hasn't done anything on the road, Jimmy. This team is their one game, December 29th. I remember it well. All right, I think our guy Mike M had it. They beat Stanford 73-70, clutched down the final few minutes. Other than that, this team has lost consistently every game on the road. I mean, at Cal before that, and then you can just rip through the rest. Both these teams don't shoot it well. They don't shoot it well from three. Both teams shoot 68-69 from the free throw line. So at Utah, at Oregon State by 8, 6 at Oregon, 14 at UCLA, 17 at SC, and on and on and on. This team just isn't on the road. To me, this is Arizona State or no look. And they've had their struggles as of late. But off a couple wins, OT at Cal and Stanford, because they were on a bad, 4 or 5, where they had kind of really leaking oil. And they were starting to show the team. I think they played a little bit over their head early on in the season, this team, especially on some of these neutral floor games. But to me, it's a big game for Arizona State. Can they get it done here? Can you trust them? Trust Hurley and these kids? To me, it'd be them or nothing. And I'm looking their way. I don't love now that, it's 3.5, 4, but it's Arizona State or nothing. I can't take Colorado.
Yeah, I think Mike M says it right here. Colorado stinks on the road. Arizona State stinks laying a number.
Yep. That's pretty true.
I was hoping that I would, but I'm going to move past it comfortably. Billy Friedrich says Arizona State money line or nothing. Yeah, I'm going to move past it.
If you got the 2.5, you feel a little bit better because, the money line in a game like that with bad free throw shooting team. But Colorado, too, I don't think they've been within 4, which is just nervous itself. Hasn't been in any of those losses. It's all been 4 more. That makes another. If you take Arizona State tonight, they don't fucking cover. I'd be hot, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm going to stay off of it. Let's move over to the Big Ten. Ohio State Buckeyes, 11-14, 3-11 in conference at Iowa Hawkeyes, 16-9, 8-6 in conference. We're at Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City, Iowa for this one. This opened up with Ohio State at +5. They got up to +8 at 9 last night. They're at +7.5 right now. Clearly nobody believing in this Buckeye team that's just stacking losses at the moment. This total opened up at 155.5, dropped down to 152.5, but it's back at 153. And you go through Ohio State's lot. They've lost 11 of 12. That lone win in those 12 games was a 93-77 victory at home over these Hawkeyes back on January 21st. Ohio State comes in off its 6th straight loss, 11th in their last 12 games, 62-41 at home to Michigan State on Sunday. At home, in front of their home fans, as 4-point favorites, they put up 41 points. They shoot 28.3% from the field and 20.7% from 3. This is one of the times where it feels good to get on the road. Get away. You're dealing with all this pressure. And now the problem is that the Hawkeyes were the team that you beat, and obviously they're not happy about that. Iowa bounced back from their 87-73 loss at Purdue by winning at Minnesota 68-56 on Sunday's 12.5-point favorites. Let's just take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have a line value on Iowa State, 6,700 tickets in, 66% of the tickets on Iowa, 78% of the cash. And then 72% of the tickets, 85% of cash on the over. You have to think that Ohio's going to shoot better than they've been shooting. Billy Friedrich says Ohio State 1-7 against the spread on the road. Iowa is 11-3 against the spread at home. That's an 81.8% rate combined. Take it away for us here, CMAC. Buckeyes, Hawkeyes.
Yeah, you just got to lay it here or nothing. The only one thing you mentioned is they haven't been good on the road all year, Jimmy. It's just they shoot better. Can that keep them in this game? But Iowa's one team you want them at home, and that's kind of their one loss, on the road. Ohio State's only win, like you mentioned. To shoot it that bad is just horrible. They were 1 of 2. They had 2 free throws in that game. They were 1 of 2. Talking about another team, and they were at home. They're just horrible. The flip side, Iowa went through a sleepwalking game. And what happens with Ohio State? I mean, where's Sensabaugh, Thornton, Key? this team really looks like they just kind of quit. I mean, it's, you don't say that, but the last few games have been really, really rough. Can they shoot it better? I don't see it. I think you got to lay it with Iowa. They kind of went through a cakewalk their last game. What was that, at Minnesota? 12-point win or 14-point win. That game was tight at halftime. They shot it 27-72. Crazy. Minnesota only was 23 of 46, 3 of 9 from 3. That's just crazy. Each team's shot selection there and what happened. I think you lay it here with Iowa. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, I just I don't want to fade a team after that horrific of a performance, and then they get to get away, hang out with the boys, get away from, leave Ohio. And so I'm off, and I can understand those of you who want Iowa. Rick J moved on Iowa. If you moved on Iowa, hopefully you got a better number than what's available now. I get it, but it's just not the angle that I prefer. What about the total here, C-Mac? I'm not going to move on the over because I guess a pretty sharp total. That's what we're finding this time of year. But 155.5 dropping down to 153. You can expect Ohio to shoot better than they just shot. But do you have any feel on the total?
Over. Got to think they shoot it better. Now, they've been so bad lately. They've been running to the under. They just haven't been able to score Ohio State. Even these other games, Jimmy, 63, 60, 69. This team did not break 70. It's 60 at Wisconsin. They got 70 in the 16-point loss, 60, 69, Illinois. You better hope they score because Iowa should, get 75 here at home. But that's why I think this number's pretty sharp. It's come down a little bit. And Iowa's an over team, though, at home. They score a ton, a little lax on defense. That's why they get into the 80s. I'll be off. As much I think it could go over. I don't trust Ohio State. Are these guys going to come to play? They're better players. It's just they looked – watching that game against Michigan State, I was watching some of it. It was bad. That was rough.
Lee Davis says Iowa 6th in home performances. Markel's going to lay it. Rick J says Iowa beat several good teams at home. Millsy's on Chris Murray over points for Iowa. DC Capper says this game is all Iowa. Easy. Yeah. It says Iowa can score. Ohio State's a terrible team. Lee Davis says this is a sharp under in his opinion. He's not playing it, though. I'm off of it. Let's move on. Let's move to a different conference. I was hoping that they have action in the last few games, but can't do it. Move over to the WCC. This one will be fun. Santa Clara Broncos, 19-8, 7-5 in conference at the BYU Cougars, 16-12, 6-7 in conference. This is going to be the first fun conference tournament we've had over here in a long time, where things are wide open for the first time. But we're in Provo for this one. Take a look at the line history here. Opened up BYU -4.5. BYU is now -5. Half point move towards them. Take a look at the total. Opened up at 149. It's now 150. So a half point move towards BYU, a 1 point move to the over. See if the cash correlates with that here. We have line value on Santa Clara. 39% of the tickets, 42% of the cash on Santa Clara. 64% of the tickets, 77% of cash on the under. Santa Clara coming in off their third straight win, 71-69 at home over Loyola Marymount on Saturday is 5-point favorites. BYU coming off their second straight loss, 88-81 at Gonzaga on Saturday's 13-point dogs. BYU lost at Santa Clara on January 19th, 83-76. I'm a little surprised that there's not more of the bigger bets on BYU to answer back here. Answer back off of a loss at in Spokane. Interesting. I would like to bet BYU here. Take it away for us, CMAC. Santa Clara BYU.
Yeah, this one, as much as I like Santa Clara and how they played, and at times on the road, this reminds me just what happened. BYU had lost 3 straight, come home against Loyola, and everyone's like, man, Loyola can stand this, and BYU blew them out, 89-61. And that just has me pause for this one because I think BYU, the same could happen after back-to-back losses on the road. And the defense just has not looked good. To me, I'm leaning to this over series. These teams get up and down and score a bunch of points as well. The line's pretty sharp, though. If you get 148 right around there, I still think it could creep over. But I see points. It just seems like a good one for BYU to bounce back here at home. I'm going to probably be off. They've been hard to trust for me. I mean, it just seems like the spot, but I don't really want them.
I want them.
Take them.
I'm going to back BYU here. It's not quite perfect for me as, 61% of tickets, 58% of cash, but I want BYU here. I like that they are coming off a tough game in Spokane where they covered comfortably. And I like Santa Clara. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to move on BYU here. Kind of nervous that they win and don't cover. DeRozan is going to be out for the Bulls. There was talk of DeRozan coming out. It's funny that there was all this talk of DeRozan playing because I had in my notes, I do not think he's going to play. But then we had the All-Star game. He has to play in this game, doesn't need to play in the All-Star game. But now he realizes I need time off for this hip. Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us, Lee. Okay, I'm going to be moving on BYU. We got 2 games left. We have one more WCC. We're going to close on Gonzaga Loyola. But next up for us, 10 p.m. Eastern, Utah Utes, 17-9, 10-5 in the Pac-12. At the number 8 ranked Arizona Wildcats, 22-4, now 11-4 after their loss at Stanford. Stanford just shot the lights out in that game. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have move over to Bet Online. Here we go. We have Utah opening up at +10, now +11. Totals wise, it's opened up at 147, dropped down to 145.5. It will open up 147.5, excuse me. Drop down to 145.5, now sitting at 146. Take a look at the cash for this one. 5,579 tickets. 74% of tickets on Arizona and 91% of the cash. Big bets coming on Arizona. All bets almost coming on. Well, 3 of the 4. 63% of tickets, 69% of cash on the under. 63 and 69. And we've seen the total drop. Utah coming in off their second straight win, 73-62 at home to Colorado on Saturday is 4-point favorites. Arizona, though, as we said, had that 7-game winning streak snapped against Stanford. Arizona lost at Utah. That was, I think this was my most confident stretch. We were on Utah in that spot December 1st. God, I was thinking how long it's been. 81-66. And Arizona probably has some Rebenga in mind. Take it away for us, C-Mac. Utah, Arizona.
I think they have revenge here on the mind. Utah away from home. I don't want this basketball team at all. I think you just lay it or don't play it in this one. I think Arizona gets up and down pretty easily. And a Utah team that's good defensively, at home, but they should be pumped here at Arizona. That's the only way I could look.
So do we think that Arizona, off of the Stanford loss, off of losing to Utah, 2 months ago, that this is just everybody, the gambler, everybody believes Arizona's just smash and grab tonight?
I'm not going to play it, but that's what I think everyone's thinking.
So why?
I lean that way.
Why are you not going to play it?
I really don't want to lay these points here. We got a shit ton of games. And you know what? This is their spot at home, Jimmy. I don't trust this Arizona team going forward. Maybe that's why. I think they're flawed. I don't think they play defense. But they're able to stretch and pull away at home, usually in the second half of these games. Not so much first half, and cover the number. So they're just a better team, and they're at home. They're a different basketball team at home than on the road, too. We've all seen their struggles, and we see Utah struggles on the road. This team, to me, is a Salt Lake play or not. Is it too many? I can't back Utah. Not on the road.
Go over there.
Carlson's got to be huge, too. He's their guy. I mean, he would have to have a monstrous game, which he could eat inside against this Arizona team. But, yep. That's it.
Isaiah Scurry says, I believe the match ends. I mean, I know that C-Mac can answer that. Says he bet golf earlier today. Some Someone money line. When does the match end? It ends at the end of the tourney.
What are you talking about?
Isaiah Scurry has a question. He says, "I bet golf earlier today took someone money line. When does the match end?" He says.
Yeah, just today. If you went head to head.
Oh, okay.
Is it a head to head?
Well,
I think that's what he means.
Let us know,
Yeah.
Isaiah, if it's head to head. DC Capper says Arizona wins, but by 11 points. So they played their last home game was against Oregon State at home. They won by 32. Before that, they beat Oregon by 15. They beat UCLA by 6. They beat USC by 15. Then they have that strange loss to Washington State in there. And they barely beat Washington at home. So since then, they've been smash and grabbing at home. That was right at the very beginning of conference play. Have you seen a change from Arizona in this winning streak that just got snapped in comparison to, the end of non-conference play and the beginning of conference play? Are they a tougher team, or do you still question a lot of what they're doing?
I still question. I thought the UCLA win was gritty, but that's just such a huge game, that 58-52.
Yeah.
I saw something out of them because I think they're flawed. I don't love their defense because they were surprised. I knew they were good, but they did surprise me early on. In these neutral games, that they were beating on some good teams. And then that first loss was that Utah game. I remember it. Everyone, Arizona riding high. Go to Salt Lake City, go to die. It did.
And I'm interested in Arizona smash and grab here.
I don't blame you. Look at their splits, though. If you're going to think first half, full game, a little, just take a look at them.
Yeah, I will dig into it because it's interesting you mentioned that, because usually in a situation like this, you would get, Arizona first half -7, full game -11, or -6.5 -11. That's not the case here. It's 5.5 and 11. So you've not liked what you've seen from them first half?
I've seen them just pull away lately in some of these wins. Second half's been very good. I think the Oregon game, a few of these games where they've really stomped in the second half.
Okay. I've got to decide what to do, but I'm thinking of a late night smash and grab. Final game here on our card and on our show. This is wild. Loyola at home to Gonzaga. When Loyola snapped Gonzaga's 75-game home winning streak, I had to have been the only person who lost a bet on Loyola. I had them first half, and they didn't cover, and then they snapped Gonzaga's 75-game win streak. I just remember the seething anger that I had. Let's take a look at this one and look at the line history, and then decide how we want to move on it. Move over here. We go at Pinnacle. Gonzaga opened up -7.5 and now -9. Over at Bet Online, they opened up at -7.5 and now -8.5. As a total, this opened up at 157 and it's dropped to 155.5. Let's go over to the cash flow here for this one. We have Gonzaga being given line value, but this is a 50-50 situation here. They're giving about 33% line value. 4,305 tickets in, 50% of the tickets and 48% of the cash is on the Zags. 72% of the tickets, 73% of the cash is on the over. And that total, so there's that, and the total's dropped. So that's tricky. Gonzaga coming off their second straight win, 88-81 at home over BYU as 13-point favorites. Loyola Marymount coming off their third win in 4 games, 71-69 at Santa Clara as 5-point dogs. Is that right? No, that's a loss. My bad. Sorry, I wrote that wrong. Because Santa Clara won that by 2 points. Loyola lost 71-69 as 5-point dogs. And then again, we go back to that January 9th, 68-67 victory for Loyola that snapped that big winning streak in Spokane. Take it away for us here, C-Mac. Gonzaga, Loyola, Marymount.
Yeah, this is moving. I think people think Gonzaga's starting to roll. I just worry them on the road here, covering the number. At home, I think it's different, and they took care of business. And I was on San Francisco last week. It didn't work out. They had a huge first half and won by 18 in that one. Loyola's a good basketball team. I don't know why they're getting they hated on Gonzaga too. 1-7. The last 8 on the road. ATS. That's not a team I want the line going the other way. Now they're 9. I don't buy them defensively. Why would you want to lay points on the road? At home, in conference play, different against San Francisco. But on the road, I don't think so. To me, this is Loyola or nothing for me. And this Loyola team, you talked about first half. Jimmy, how about the first half versus St. Mary's at home? They were down 16-0. They didn't score a point for the first 8 minutes.
Yeah.
The basketball game. And Loyola's had a few struggles. They played okay on the road. Not great on the road. I mean, obviously, the Gonzaga win. This team's beat Wake. They have some really good wins. And for the most part, they've taken care of business at home. I disagree with it. I'll let it keep cruising up. If this goes up and up, then I'll take Loyola. I'll go the other way with it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to stay off of this spot. I was hoping that I'm going to have to stay off of this spot. I feel like I have enough action here. Is this going to sell out at Gersten Pavilion in LA? Do these games sell out?
No, but this might be close.
Against St. Mary's. So it only seats 4,156 people. They have St. Mary's come to town. It's a beauty game. Loyola wins in overtime, and it's less than half filled, 43% filled, 1,775 tickets. I mean, wouldn't this be a fun thing to do in LA? I mean, you would think, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's strange.
All right, always solid basketball teams, but this year they have a better team than they've had, in a while, I think.
Oh,
look
definitely.
at them. Look at Gonzaga's, and that's the whole thing. Does Gonzaga finally have a good game on the road? Maybe. This team's, like I said, 1-7 their last 8 games on the road, ATS. They're 8-16 against the number. Loyola's been nothing but money, 16-9 against the number. Is it a flat spot here? I'd go full game because obviously this team struggled a little bit first half. But I think they have a good defense. That's what they went to Gonzaga and won with that, Jimmy, was their defense.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to give them the points at home. I think that they're looking too crazy into this game. And maybe Gonzaga has their best game of the season on the road. I guess that's what people are thinking. But I don't buy it.
Well, let's review all actions. Some decisions still need to be made. But starting Isaiah Scurry talking about that 2 p.m. spot, it's a wild one. But by the way, Jarek White asking if you like the under. DC Capper's friend, who's unit size $5,000, he's on the under.
Yes,
and he went to
Gonzaga on the road. I go lean a little bit under after they fly over at home lately. Where they've scored almost 100 points.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's as low scoring as that first game meeting, but I think it could stay under. It's a little too high.
JPZ says Gonzaga shot 28% from 3 in that first meeting, and neither team hit 3 free throws, and the total was 135. That's much higher now. Okay. So that St. Francis, Pennsylvania, St. Francis, Brooklyn. Look, I'd like to have action on a game that pops off in 15 minutes, but it's Sharps are on St. Francis of Pennsylvania. And
you think they can score? That's the only thing.
Yeah.
And Brooklyn just scrappy, but I don't. They struggle to score as much as that's what I'd be on. It's tough.
No doubt. I'm that Heat says Bucks back on the board at 7.5. Yeah, now that D-Rose out, I hope some of you guys could have caught that 6.5 once Middleton was announced out. A lot of moving pieces in NBA these days, man. All right. Yeah. So we're off that 2 p.m. game, and I'm sorry. Look, it's just
sorry. What are you sorry about?
I would love to give out action for the 2 p.m. lone game, but it's about making money and. But
we gave them what we thought. I mean, you make the decision. I mean, we went over the game.
I thought it was going to be screaming for us to be on Brooklyn, and we cashed on Brooklyn. What was that, a week ago or 2 weeks ago on the 2 p.m. game? Cashed easily. Well, I guess I was on first half. I guess the game went to overtime, didn't it?
They still won. Yeah.
CMAC did move on the under 132.5. That was one of the spots he's locked in. Check him out on the 5 p.m. show. I think it's a great opportunity for you to succeed on Thursdays. You see, in fact, C-Mac, I bet you have a positive, like a really nice ROI on Thursdays, getting to run them once and then hammer some of these spots again, sit with them for the few hours in between. That really helped me down south.
It's been pretty good. And last week I didn't add some of the late games. I went 3-0 late that I didn't put on the card, but it was good last week. Yeah. So hopefully we can get it again today.
I imagine that we will. C-Mac, I'm going to move on that under with them, but I'm also going to bet Maryland. So I'm doubling up on that 6:30 game. Then I'm going to be on Middle Tennessee. I'm leaning towards first half over full game. I'm going to be on Radford -4 full game, and I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to be on Memphis first half. And I'm going to be on BYU full game. And I'm thinking about a smash and grab with Arizona first half full game. I really, really am. 5.5 and 11. And that's my college basketball action. And you can get more from CMAC at 5 p.m. And again, must follow CMAC on Twitter at Conor Mac Picks. And on Thursdays, he tweets out what his confirmed action is. Now, CMAC, I was rushing. I forget why. Oh, I was trying to get that bet in. I don't know what. But is there anything that you wanted to add at this point before we put a bow on this?
No, if anybody's got a quick question on any game we could take. Somebody mentioned it was at Rich Franklin. I don't mind it. Take the points, but he took it money line. Monmouth. He lost the value. This team just keeps. They had laid an egg Saturday, but I think it's like 7 out of 8. Northeastern laying points? No way. So I like that bet. I saw that a little bit earlier in the chat.
Well, you have a great show at 5 p.m. alongside Bobano. It's at Conor Mac Picks. I'll put it right here in the chat for you at Conor Mac Picks right there. Follow him at Conor Mac Picks. Great job, C-Mac. I love these Thursdays together. Go out and get that cash, my friend, and do follow C-Mac on Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. And then, of course, for the Saturday, big NCAA Hub. Any last words for the Capper Sport in the show?
Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Let's get that cash. Shout out, as always, best goddamn chat in the goddamn game. Pub Sports Radio, baby. We're out of here. We be pubbing.
There he is, C-Mac in the house. All right, so Montembeault has been confirmed in net for the Habs. I was very, very excited about the Habs first period plus a half, and the Canadiens team total over 2. I'm going to have to dive a little deeper in what Montembeault has done of late. Too bad. Then I'm on the under 6.5 in Florida at Washington. Caps team total under 3 and the Panthers -1. Gogster is no goal first 9. First period under 1.5 plus 140 in the Caps team total under 3 with me. Ghoster's on the Preds, team total under 2.5, -112 in the Bruins in regulation. Ron Crawford's on the NHL spreadsheet play today. He's on the Bruins in regulation. I'm on the Bruins -1. What up, Sharon? Great to see you. Detroit, Calgary stayed off. And then I'm on the Blues at +130. I'm going heads up with Mr. Gogster. Ghoster's on first period, but I'll explain what he's doing in a second here because he's not just betting them at -155 or whatever they're at. Ghoster's on first period, both teams to score +175 in Philly, Seattle. And both teams to score 3 at +195. And we're off Sharks, Vegas. He has a parlay. Ghoster's parlay is Hurricanes in regulation, Devils money line, Vegas money line +254. Isaiah says, "What's the pimp slap play today?" You gotta follow it on Twitter because he is not and you don't rush that kind of thing because you get pimp slapped. We all know what that feels like. I guess we don't all know what that feels like. We're not hoes. Let's go into NBA here. I want the Bucks. No DeRozan, no Middleton. I think the number's right. I want the Bucks. I got to figure out how to attack it. I want the Wizards and the Wolves team total under. And I want to stay away from the Clippers-Suns game. So I'm going to make these decisions now. Thank you guys for supporting the show. We have nothing without you. Isaiah Scurry, Christopher Comentini, I'm That Heat, Don Play, Sean Terry, Rick J. Peasy says Pennsylvania coming off a loss to face a team they beat by 20 and getting a point. Is it that easy? Isn't it? It's a messed up one. Because J. Peasy, I was wanting the Terriers. You say PA coming off a loss. What aren't they coming off 5 losses in their last 6 games? Coming off a ton of losses. Nate Cerna looking at Moorhead over Tennessee Tech. Thank you, Robert Franklin. Nate Cerna, Jarek White, Jalen, Torrey Coker, Brian Watson, the Nuke Worker. Thank you, guys. Let's go out and get that cash today. BJ, Billy Friedrich, DC Capper. Thank you, guys. Lee Davis, Matt Paulins, Markel, Millsy, MMA Locker Room. Check out his page with all of his interviews. And in UFC, he's got a great I say page, but also he's got a great playlist on our homepage for our YouTube Pub Sports Radio homepage. And also, thank you to my producer, Jose Bouquet, who does such a great job. And check out his playlist as well. All the World Baseball Classic action on that one. On behalf of all of us here at Pub Sports Radio, thank you guys for the support. Sharon saying Lakers on the move up. It's good. It's good for basketball if Lakers are playing well. Jarek White says, Leche caliente. Leche. Los bookmakers.